Okay, there we go. So this is our very first broadcast that we've ever done of this campaign. I'm going to give you a little bit of background while everyone sort of puts together their meals. A little background on the campaign as sort of how we put it together, how it came about, and just a little bit about the three players we have. We do have actually fourth, but she is not going to be with us this evening because she's in the hospital. Where to start? So this sort of came about with Sour Kool-Aid Show, and Dan Paul was putting together, sort of thinking about what his next campaign might be. And as a teenager, I'd say, like early teens, 12, 13-year-old, I played a lot of 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, so AD&D. And there was this one box set called Dragon Mountain that they put out, and I was the dungeon master for my group, and we tried to play it, and it was insanely hard and a little bit above, we must have been 12 or 13, I guess, kind of our ability. And, you know, I was a 12, 13-year-old DM who liked to kill his friends. So we never really got very far into it and didn't get to experience much of it. So that was always kind of a regret of mine. So when Dan was thinking, hey, what's gonna be the next campaign? I said, why don't we take this mountain?
Butts.
I'm gonna mute you.
Butts.
There. So nice when I have control over Booby. I'm gonna take this. Yeah, I can't stop it. Gonna take this campaign. Why don't we sort of update it so it works in your format and blah blah blah. He agreed, and so off we went. And that was our original idea. What actually has happened through a lot of different circumstances is completely different. It turned out we were gonna just make a new dungeon crawl, and instead I created an entire sort of campaign setting. And there were a lot of parts of it that just we had no idea what it was going to be like with putting players in front of it, and so I formed a test group. Booby here was the one who messaged me and said, you know, if you want to do a little testing or beta, whatever, with your campaign, I'd be up for it. So he found some players, and we put together this sort of weekly, sometimes every 2 weeks, group of just sort of fooling around and testing things. And we eventually got to the point where we're like, you know, we could actually stream this. And so, geez, that's been about 2 months ago, and we've now finally gotten to the point where I think all the ducks are in a row. And so we're not starting brand new. Like, the characters most are level 4, and one is level 3. So there is some backstory that will sort of have to be filled in. That will be on the website, which you can see on the through one of the panels on the channel description. And it's a lot of backstory. It's still a work in progress, so it'll take you a while. But so the basic premise is we have this. The campaign setting is an island. And it's an island that for a very long time had been submerged underneath the oceans. And so sort of the rest of the world forgot about it. And it was submerged for about 1,000 years. And then circumstances happened that caused it to resurface. And now there's sort of been this mad rush from various places around the world to come and investigate this new setting. And our players, 3 of them, all 3 that will be here tonight, are sort of in that kind of foreigner perspective of they've come to the island, they have no previous knowledge of it. The 4th one, that's played by Miss Chaotica, who is unfortunately in the hospital at the moment recovering. She is native to the island, so her story will be a little bit different. What she contributes, it's a nice sort of dichotomy. But so the players came to the island and sort of getting accustomed to the politics and the situations, and got themselves into a fair number of situations that they maybe weren't prepared for. In some ways, they volunteered and went into it knowing what they were kind of getting into. Others they were kind of dragged into. Let's see. Where we are at now is we sort of have two big things that are going on with the players. One is that they are Vander, who is a human paladin played by Shiverwarp, has a sort of tragic sort of backstory to him that he had a very dear friend who was sort of a growing up friend who was killed by a necromancer, he believes, of sorts. And he's found out that necromancer fled to, or came to this island. And he's sort of trying to track her down. And the players have gotten themselves into a certain number of situations involving this individual, and kind of undead and those sort of things. So that is kind of a primary thing on Vander's mind. Then we have Samir, played by Booby Dooby, who is comes from a background of the easiest way. Oh, good, it's timing out Booby. Way to go, bot. The easiest way to put it is from a brothel sort of background, but kind of brothel on a higher level of not sort of sex worker, but more as in sort of companionship and a place where you would go to ease your troubles, and that had been his upbringing. And he sort of got himself, Samir got married. You're just going to keep timing it out. Like, Moobot is extremely aggressive, Booby. No swearing. Unless you're doing it out loud. Yeah, okay. And Samir is directly tied to the goddess Freya, and that is part of his background, and that's part of how these houses or brothels are organized around this goddess. And he sort of had a pivotal moment with his own wife. He is married, where she sort of said his wife had become pregnant, and she said, "I need you to go out and be someone who your child can be proud of." And he sort of had this then crisis of consciousness, and he's trying to go out into the world and prove himself, so that his wife and coming child will accept him and look up to him as a worthy father. But Samir has also found that there are sort of groups of his fellow followers of Freya here on the island, and he's become sort of very protective of them. And one of the big things that motivates him is sort of, how am I making sure that my people are taken care of? And then the third player who you'll meet tonight is Dagana, who's a tiefling rogue, played by Gracelbeard High. And Dagana has been a pirate for most of her life. She was abandoned actually by her mother as a child, as many tieflings do when the parents realize their sort of infernal blood. I'm just gonna calm Moobot down because he's not gonna stop. If I can figure that out later. So Dagana is the character that has the least deliberate buy-in or like a specific targeted goal. She does have kind of these large life goals that she's looking to explore. She really kind of in the back of her mind is always thinking about she wants to be her own ship captain at some point. So that's sort of, I think that's where on sort of character backgrounds. The last thing sort of in terms of what you've missed, and yes, I did do pirate because maybe there could be some pirate action later today in the actual session. The last thing is the players found themselves sort of engulfed in, spoilers all over the place. What are you going to do? Found themselves really embroiled in the local politics, and they found that they had sort of stepped into this atmosphere where there was a kind of a resistance faction fighting against the establishment, and they wittingly, unwittingly, that's kind of gray. They sort of went along with certain things that were happening, and found themselves in conflict with a group that's called the Wardens of the Blessed Streams, and they are a group of clerics, religious individuals who actually live further to the north of the city, but have sensed a power vacuum and are sort of trying to exert their influence on the city that the players are in. And we'll bring up the map somehow, so you can see what I'm talking about. But the players found themselves right in the middle of this sort of conflict between this resistance group and these wardens, and we've sort of, where we're going to start off is they've just taken out sort of the local figurehead here in the city of Scolinus. That's where the players are, and in doing so, they've sort of reached a point where they need to kind of decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to push this political issue further, or do we want to pursue some of our own agendas? We'll see. We're gonna once we get everybody configured properly in the stream, that's where we're gonna kind of jump off with them deciding what do we want to do next. Yeah. So I will now. All right, we got Grace in the right position. So whatever you do, Grace, don't turn your camera off. Unless it's for a naked child.
I was gonna say, they all have pants on right now, so we're okay.
All right, awesome.
Let me know if I'm too loud, by the way.
You're okay for me. Stream, you tell me. You tell me if she's crazy loud.
Dude, I thought this was an hour later. I was gonna get coffee ready. I have like a week-old coffee right there. It's delicious.
Awesome.
So am I the one turning on my camera next, or Booby Dooby?
We need you two to switch. So however that will happen.
I think I joined last.
You're good. That's perfect.
Is good? Okay, so me next.
All right. Here we go.
Progress.
Oh, fuck. I mean,
We did
darn
it,
it.
chat.
This Moobot is
We
a
did it,
bunch
chat.
of bullshit.
It could be someone programmed Moobot to time out the username Booby Dooby after
I wouldn't
5
be
seconds
fucking
of typing.
surprised.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I'm just trying
Get
to
that little character sheet ready.
gonna see if I have a way that I can show the stream what the world looks like here for a second. You know what?
Moobot hates everyone. Moobots.
We're gonna do that next week. That's just gonna be one of those things that we'll see.
Fuck production value. Who needs that
Yeah, it's junk.
shit? There we go.
Bunch of tryhards.
Fuck, no, I can't do this light.
I mean, this is just a bunch of assholes playing D&D. It's not like it's fancy.
Okay, I've calmed down Moobot, hopefully. So,
I'm
chat,
drinking wine. It's fine.
chat, you should be okay now, hopefully. Maybe not. At least you're not getting timed out.
Yeah, the channel has settings that
Hey,
Oh, that's right. The channel itself is just
yeah,
banning
Twitch channel just censors certain words.
all right.
I should probably turn on the light.
Not worried about it. Not
Let's see, I
worried
should
about
get
it.
my house.
We have four cameras in the right position. We haven't dropped any frames. There's no ground noise. Everybody can be heard. We're doing just fine.
Some sort of progress.
Olaf's heart rate is only at 120 beats per
probably
minute.
like 80% better than last week.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll add that, Benja. I'll add a progress at some point. I'm gonna mod Deuce and just ask him to do everything. I think that's how this works. Okay, anything that you three want to say about your characters in just sort of like out of character context that you think I misrepresented?
I wasn't listening.
All right,
That's pretty much Samir.
Okay.
Good job. Good job.
I wasn't listening because there were fucking spoilers all over the place.
Yeah, I walked away when I
You started talking about Shiver, and I was like, nope, don't need to know anything about motherfucking Vander. Don't need to know anything about Vagina. I don't need this information.
Okay.
So I just took off my headphones.
Okay, so let's just tone the war drums down a little bit. So as I said, unfortunately Miss Chaotica isn't going to be able to be with us tonight because she had surgery on Monday and she is still recuperating, but we hope to have her back next week and we wish her all the best on speedy recovery. So we'll see.
Gallstones are bullshit.
Yeah. Especially the way she was
They're
describing
the size
hers.
of golf balls, apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Sweet.
So if she comes up and needs to do anything, I will sort of take control of her and be as diligent and faithful to her character as possible. We'll see. So we are going to jump right in. If everybody is in Roll20, which you are, we're starting in your room that you've been given in the second floor of the Topaz Cup. You've just sort of finished. You are finishing a long rest, and are.
I can have spell slots again?
You can
Oh
have.
boy.
Amazing.
What do you want to do?
After a long rest, you get what, half your hit dice, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Half your max.
Sweet.
Whichever is rounded up or down.
We didn't do experience, bro. What happened?
Oh yeah, experience for last time.
Yeah, that's right. Hang on. I've got it written down. Well, I've got it written down what the actual combat experience was.
I think everybody got like 6 check marks last week.
So whatever check marks happened.
I think I got like 9.
Because it's been two sessions where we didn't get experience yet.
Am I going to have to go and get the paper downstairs? I don't think anybody has
No, I was
ever
serious. I
gotten
think like
9.
everybody got 6.
No, it wasn't 6. It was 4, 5, 5, and 6.
Yeah, Shiver got the most
I
of
rounded up.
I can't remember. I'm impressed that you
No, I
even
thought
remember.
it was Chaotica that got the most.
Oh, I thought it was Vander, but
I think I got the most the one before that.
Sorry, I'm just doing a little bit of math here and dividing by 4. Okay. It would be... Is that right? Rounded, we're going to say 475 per person.
475.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
for
My calculator.
both
should-
sessions together.
Yes, because one was less combat than the other, actually.
I don't remember. I just wanted to make sure.
We should do that, Strife. If the DM doesn't remember, it's just 0. You get none.
So 475. You said.
Right.
can we mod Deuce and then maybe like ban Strife?
Wow.
Damn.
Making friends already.
For that cow joke and for that bullshit 0 experience.
Wow. also for what he.
I am extremely experienced. I'll have you know.
Some sort of professional D&D player.
The one thing I should say to, and this is more to the players than to the chat room, like they have been accustomed to just sort of, arguing with me, which is, most of D&D. And while I'm not trying to change the format of this show too much, I do have the chat right there. And it is sort of my philosophy that if it's a D&D show on Twitch, the chat should have some feeling that they are at least being paid attention to. So while we're not going to have, in this show, we're not going to have like the chat creating monsters or throwing random encounters or determining difficulty checks or things like that. If the chat notices something, they're like, I don't think they have any spell slots left. Please say so that I can see it and just be like, do you have spell slots left? Things like that.
Calling us cheaters?
No.
Don't make me tell an NPC to swim again. I'll do it.
Sure
I'm not afraid.
Called us cheaters.
I mean, I don't know what spell slots are.
You got first-hand experience the other
Silly
week.
rogue.
No, I know that was
Exactly
actually
what they are.
spell sluts.
With Strife destroying my fucking encounter.
How do you spell
bullshit.
sluts? In my school, it was ASHLEY.
Ow.
Oh, we're off to a good start. Okay, so you awaken from your long rest, or do you want to have your what do we want to do conversation before or after you take it? It doesn't really matter too much to me.
I thought
mean,
we
like,
were
waking
under the. I don't remember what happened at the very end.
Basically, you checked in on your. Samir checked
Oh
in
right,
on
I
his-
checked in on my folk.
Yeah, and
Why the
it
fuck
kinda
am
got
I here in this bedroom when
messed
it's
up by the
my
Whitecaps.
other house?
Well, you didn't finish purchasing your house, did you? I can't remember.
Yeah, I got the deed.
You got the deed, but you haven't moved everyone over.
Correct. We'll say at this. So
Okay,
for
is
the
it morning or evening? What are we doing?
yeah, that's up to you
What
guys.
time is it?
Do you want to have already have had your rest, or do you want it to be before you take it? Because if it's before you take it, it's sort of late evening.
I feel like Vander's gonna push the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we would have discussed what we were going to do the next day before.
Yeah, I think we would
we
have
were
rested
in some sort of
first.
hurry to sleep, so yeah, I mean, I think we would have had that discussion beforehand, what we were going to do,
Okay.
once we get rested.
Well, I'm going to let you have that conversation live now for the benefit of you remembering what you wanted to do, but also so that the chat can have a little bit of frame of reference.
Right.
What the fuck is chat pop out? Where's this fucking button?
The cog.
There we go.
Yeah, it's in the cog. So, let's see. Yeah, so Katerina has destroyed the portal, whatever the wardens were using to get into Smelinus.
That's right.
I feel like we should take control of the water temple where it was as soon as possible, or who knows what they're doing to reconstruct it. I don't know how many people Katerina killed. Certainly there's still wardens left in the city.
All I know is I gotta at least take care of the warden issue before we head out.
Well, and the Whitecap issue as well, it seems, is also plaguing you.
Okay, well, let's go and finish them off.
I gotta talk to.
Okay? All right. Is there anything else you want to discuss, or are you now ready to take your...
No, I'm just going to strap on all my swords.
Yes, once we figured out the portal or whatever, and I feel like we can maybe work on how we're going to get the Whitecaps out of the blockade. I've talked to Brownie a little bit, and she seems to have some sort of a plan, so we can, in the morning, if we go find Brownie and whoever else of the
Olaf, I whispered you a thing because my memory is fucked right now.
Where?
In roll 20.
If the Valhalladin are still around, perhaps we can organize something to take care of that the water temple issue.
Okay.
So for the benefit of the chat, what they're talking about is they found out that sort of one of the temples in the city that's sort of dedicated to the woman who rules the entire island. They found out that inside this temple, apparently, they've never seen it. They were just told this. There's some sort of portal. And these wardens were using this portal to keep bringing in reinforcements. But apparently, one of their allies was able to disable it. This ally isn't really magically inclined, so she essentially just tried to smash it. She doesn't know how effective she was, just that it seemed to have stopped. So Vander is sort of worried about how effective was she. Is this still going to be a problem? The other thing they're talking about is these white caps, and the white caps is actually a whole separate faction that is sort of a seafaring faction of pirates, basically a mixture of some humans, but they're really defined by there's a lot of minotaurs that are sort of that are the bulk of the sailors,
And the motherfucking fish people.
and they have allies that Samir refers to as fish people. So those are the two sort of competing concerns that they have in mind, and that's what they were talking about. Okay, so you take your long rest. At some point, as the evening's sort of getting on, Samir Kekon comes and sort of knocks on your door and gives you the title to the building. So that now
this part.
he hadn't.
I already have
he was going to get it. He has now brought it to you, so you have it. I'm just using this, so I'm going to show the stream here. So this is the city that they're in. This is the city of Skolinus. And let me switch myself to it. And so right now all of the players are... No, let's not do that. Roll 20.
Down here.
Thank
Did
you.
it.
Thank you, Vander.
In
They're
this hole.
down in this is called the Topaz Cup Tavern. And the building that Samir has purchased... Let me actually double check to make sure I tell you the right one.
One of these two?
We can always retcon it, but I want to make sure we give you the right one. Let's see. Yeah. There it is. So this is the building that Samir has just received. Sort of one of the big things he's been pursuing as a character. Sorry, I'll ping it again. You see that one?
Oh, okay. That one right here?
Yeah, you got it. Was he wanted a place that he could sort of set up shop for his people. Right now they've been kind of renting one room in the tavern because they're also foreigners, and he wanted a place of their own.
Didn't really have a choice.
Yeah. So it was very prohibitively expensive to find one, or to buy or lease one outright, especially for those of you familiar with 5th edition, low-level players. Getting property, pretty difficult. But one of their allies was kind of able to strong-arm an individual who had a lot of debts so that they could their debts would be forgiven if they were willing to sign away their lease. And Samir took it in a little shifting of resources. He wasn't owed the debt, someone else was, did it as a favor, blah, blah, blah.
It's all very complicated, not really important.
Yes.
Stuff happened.
Don't let me drown on over and over and over again. Okay, so Samir, you now have the title at some point. I assume you don't want to do anything immediately in the dead of night.
Oh, it's the dead of night. Okay, yeah.
When he brings you the deed, yeah. So the night...
Because last session we had done this. I had got the title or the deed in the morning.
I
or
don't
when we
remember
yielded
any
to
of
him.
that.
Okay.
I'm sure that didn't
And I
happen.
talked to the and I was like, "Here, Fricks, here's the deed. You're a champion. Now let's go move our shit over there. And also, we don't do anything with the Whitecaps anymore. Period. We refuse service."
Okay. You've told her all this morning, right upon
Okay.
waking up.
That works. I'm just saying the we refuse service part is probably the one I wanted remembered most.
Right. Okay.
Because and like Samir is just walking around pissed in a way that you've only seen him once before.
When he murderized someone on the docks.
I think it was like 2 people.
3 people.
I stabbed a guy really
The
hard.
most important was the dude that got stabbed and turned into the husk. Okay.
Turned into a mummy.
In the tavern, I'd. Oh man. I talked to Dooley, and if he's around.
Okay. So you wake up, or Vander, being one of the first to get up, goes downstairs. You find Dooley, which, let's see if I can show the stream Dooley here, and that's not Dooley. Don't. That's a totally different dwarf.
That's
There
not
we go.
Dooley?
There's
You sure?
Dooley. You just have faith. So you find Dooley working behind the bar. It seems your friend Charlie is awake as well.
I wasn't really much of a friend to Charlie.
Nope.
That was mostly Samir and Dagana.
Your best
I'm
friend.
all right with him. He's okay. He's not terrible in my book.
Just pet him and tell him you love him, V.
He's a guy. He's a human being.
So?
Samir.
Oh, I'm not actually. I'm
I
sort
know.
of helping if Rick's in that
Yeah.
move to the.
At
Yeah.
the moment, Vander is by himself.
I think I was the one that was only awake or something. Dooley, is the wait before I say this, is the bar basically empty? Like anybody around?
Few people here or there. Sort of most of them seem to be the ones that are kind of passed out at the tables.
All right.
We're
I'll talk in Dwarvish then to Dooley and say, with all the chaos around, how are we gonna get in contact with the rest of the Valhalla now? I think we need to go check out the water temple, but I'd like to let the rest of the Valhalla know what's happening.
And you could see the whole time you were speaking, like, he acknowledged your presence, but seems very, like, upset at the state of his place, because you can still see a lot of chairs are broken from whatever this brawl had broken out the night before. And he's sort of scowling, and he looks up
Got a
at
lot
you,
of bad luck for you, Dooley.
and he sort of shakes his head and just says, "You know, I just don't know. I suspect the usual channels I used to use won't work very much. I don't know if they... I mean, it was my fault. Their whole operation was exposed." So he seems really downtrodden, kind of beating himself up about the situation. For the benefit of the chat, this dwarf is the owner of this tavern, and he had an assistant. And just a halfling slave assistant, and it turned out that halfling actually was kind of informing on him, and the halfling went with him everywhere, and he went to kind of a secret meeting, I guess you'd say, and then the halfling immediately went and reported back where the secret meeting was being held, and that led to this big conflict that the players have just recently come out of. So
You cannot blame yourself for trusting being a good person, Dooley. It's not on you. Justice will find a way in the end.
This doesn't
you say
seem
it
to
with a straight
move
face?
Dooley too much. Like,
No, that's fine.
he's really
I just-
in himself at the moment.
It's all right. Well, I'm sorry, and I'm just gonna head back up then.
Okay.
would I be talking to Efrix at this point about the deed and blah 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 blah?
Yeah, if you want to tell her anything specific or...
I just the only specific thing is because they were roughed up by Whitecaps again, and I was just like, nope, fuck it, we're done with Whitecaps.
Okay. She would want to... So as you're sort of talking to her, let me see if I can pull her up for this stream. I don't think I have her loaded in. Sorry, stream, you don't get to see Efrix. Next week, I swear. She sort of, as you're explaining this, she's just is like, well, what are we supposed to say when they come? Because they'll come.
Well, you're gonna be busy moving first, you know, for the time being, and when we get the coin, we just hire some thugs to
So you're saying we
guard
shouldn't
the door for now.
we shouldn't like have any service while we're moving until everything's set up?
Until everything's set up with the meadow, there's no service for anyone, and then when we start opening up again, we need to get some protection in there, specifically for any Whitecaps. But hopefully, we'll take care of them. And when I say we, I just sort of gesture over at the other room because we're across the hallway, right? We'll take care of them soon. And like this whole time, like I'm just anger in a way that you kind of don't really see in Samir very often.
Okay. And she sort of nods her head and like, oh, okay.
And Dooley will show you where, or someone will show you where the building is, I believe, unless it says on the deed outside of character.
Or the sort of the map of the town that you have kicking around between the three of you, you'd be able to sort of point it out.
Okay, so I just point out the building.
Okay.
And that it basically suffices what I wanted to do there.
Tagana?
And what time is it? Oh, no.
By now it's 7, the equivalent of sort of 7 in the morning. Anything Dagana wants to do specifically?
I mean, depending on where Vander is,
You would have seen him sort of get up, go through all of the...
and then come back up, right?
And, yep, come back up.
Cool. And then I'll just get up and ask him if he's ready to go.
Yes, I think we're ready to go. Is Samir in the other room?
Oh, I'd be coming back by now.
Coming back. Okay, there's Samir. I think we might as well check at Einar's place, where it's the last place we saw Katarina. I don't know where the rest of the Valhalla is, but we should let somebody know what we're doing before we go. So,
I mean, we let Dooley know. I say we just go and try and cut him off as quickly as possible.
I've already informed Dooley what we're about to do. So,
I agree. We should check with Einar, see if we can find any other help. Maybe see if Moss wanted to. Moss, or I know Kekken would be totally interested.
I'm not too keen on working with Moss again.
Your helmet's gonna be fine, V.
I rubbed the spot on my head.
Your helmet, it's just a scratch. It's still nice and chrome and shiny.
I scowl and head out.
Okay. I'm going to drop, since I don't want to throw him in XSplit, I'm going to put in the Discord so people can see who people are talking about. If you jump in there...
Is there like a Discord command?
Yep, it should be. And just in the general chat, I've thrown up 3 of these NPCs that they're talking about. You'll be able to see. It should go somewhere else in the Discord, but that's where I put it, so that's where it's going to be.
Yep. You can put it in both places and just make it so only you can talk in Art Gallery, and then just place all of them in there. I don't know how you want to set it up.
That's just... let's be honest. Nothing's broken so far. Let's not take our chances, okay? We're moving along fine. Players have a direction. Everything's coming up roses. Okay, so you, as a group, Arasi seems to be not not feeling very well, sort of maybe a little disconcerted about what had all that she's sort of experienced since coming to the city. So as you're sort of getting up to leave, and you look and are like, "Are you coming with us?" She's like, "I'm just gonna. I need a little time to process everything. I know you could use my assistance, but I just."
As long as you're focusing on the Dryad issue and, this whole situation, you can do whatever. You can take all the time you need.
Well, and she thinks about that and says,
I'm gesturing at the
Because chat doesn't know about the issue.
shards in my fucking shoulder.
Yes.
So at one point, the players were in the sort of study of a wizard who is experimenting with trying to enter the Feywild through a magical portal that was fashioned into a mirror of some sort. And when the players were there, they were combating this NPC called Donovan, who had a horn of blasting. And long story short, in using that horn against the players, he shattered the mirror and its sort of control mechanism.
And blew his own fucking head off.
He did blow his own head off, yep. It backfired on a roll of 96, I think, on a D100. But by shattering all of the sort of glass in the room, Samir was the only one who got some actually embedded in his back. And he doesn't seem to be able to get it out without causing himself extreme, almost fatal pain every time he tries. So this is sort of one of the things he really wants to resolve. And the fourth player, that's normally controlled by Miss Chaotica, she has a dryad in her background who is sort of her mentor. So they're trying to figure that out. So that's what Samir's referring to. And Arasi tells you, okay, well, I'm going to send another animal message, just relaying everything that happened with the drow and that strange. She seems sort of like searching for her words, very unsure of herself. So she doesn't seem like she will be joining you.
Bye, have fun.
Okay, so you go out, you go down through the cup, and out onto the city streets. I've just put Vander's token on the map. You're going to Einar's? That's
Yes.
the plan?
That's where we're heading. Yep.
Okay.
I'm just going to go directly out. I'm not caring about staying in the shadows or to alleys or anything unless one of the other players.
Well, I'm going to stick to the far left of the boardwalk.
Deliberately trying to be inconspicuous?
No.
Just
as
not
far
see
away from
us
the
to
pier.
fish people.
Just stay away from fish people.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay on the dock side, but keep to shadows. Just keep an eye out.
I'm
Do
like,
you want to be
shield
stealthy?
out.
That's my question to come.
I mean, it's not like,
Okay, not deliberately. Right. Okay.
it's just kind of like, yeah.
Okay.
Pagana's doing her usual thing, being a little bit skulky.
Where Vander and Samir
I
are
clank
like,
forward loudly.
sword out, shield out,
The
balls
shield
out.
of justice shining.
The dawn sun reflecting on all your polished surfaces.
I'm getting a deeper tan. I'm getting a deeper tan standing next to him with the morning sun just blasting into my face.
Okay. So for the benefit of the chat,
Hold down my visor.
at one point, Samir was sort of coming back along the boardwalk, and he was close to the docks, and he was by himself, and he was ambushed by a and we can debate the pronunciation.
A fish person.
A Sahwagan is how I say it.
Fish person.
And actually thrown into the harbor, and there was a water battle that they went through. So he's,
And I got puked on.
This is it bled on you technically.
Mostly blood.
You violently
Blech.
killed it, and it
And it puked up all of its whatever onto me. That's puking. If it comes out of your mouth, blood or not, it's puke.
Point taken. So Samir likes to avoid the water, just in case this happens again.
Not the water, that specific section
Of the docks.
boardwalk.
Right. So the players are they're headed in this direction, and you can see people are starting to come out and do about their early morning things. And you can see out in the harbor these large ships that are owned by the Whitecaps, and there's definite activity going on their decks. So they're already up and awake. But nothing really impedes your progress in any way. So sort of coming down here, and then you come up to Dooley's place.
So there's nothing different about, say, like the Whitecap ships out in the harbor or anything. Just the usual what we've seen during the blockade.
There's definite activity going on, but there's not, there's none on fire or
Nothing conspicuously different.
correct.
Is Dooley's house locked?
By the time you get there, sort of walking up to it, you actually, as you're walking up to it, you see the door opening and him sort of, propping the door up with a little piece of cast iron that as he uses as kind of as a door prop, and he sees you coming and just sort of motions to you and beckons you to come in.
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna walk straight in and walk up the stairs and knock on the top door.
God damn.
Okay. So Dooley sort of sensing, I'll let you pull yourself in here.
Wait, Julie or Einar? 'Cause this is
Sorry.
Einar.
Einar. Understanding your intention doesn't really stop you, goes back into his sort of little office area.
So Dagana was the only one that knew where Katerina was in the house because she was the only one that came in here.
So are you two following her?
Probably like a few steps behind, I would stop to talk to Einar and say, like, where's she going?
Basically.
Oh, well, your girl's upstairs.
Okay, and then I'll follow.
Okay.
We don't have an upstairs, I'm sure, right?
We actually do have an upstairs. I didn't think you were going to go up there, so it's not loaded into the given...
I'll just imagine it.
Yeah, I can, use your imagination, seriously.
It is powerful.
Yeah, so you're not getting
wanted
any...
to ask Einar a question as they're going upstairs, I guess.
Okay.
I would just stop and just say in Dwarven, in case anybody might have prying ears or anything. We didn't really get a feel for Octavia and where she stands in all of this. Do you have any idea on her stance with the wardens and Whitecaps?
Not really. She's not... I don't associate with the Watch that much, so I don't know much about her.
Okay.
Samira is asking about the woman who is in... the half-orc who's in charge of the City Watch.
We had a very small idea from her that she didn't really like a little bit of the prying that the wardens were doing, but we didn't actually know her actual stance on things.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a fair assessment, yeah. Okay, so Dagana, you come up, you see the door is sort of slightly ajar as you're coming up to it.
I'm gonna knock on the door and jam, I guess is what you would call it.
Okay. And as you do, you hear a little shuffling, and the door sort of opens slightly. Give me, for our first roll of the night, roll a perception check for me.
Me as well, or
Nope,
am I just far behind?
just Dagana. Okay, so you see the door opening, but sort of, it seems to be opening to an empty room.
Um. I'm just gonna say, like, I'm not gonna come in until you say it's okay, but I assume everything's good since you're invisible.
And then the door swings all the way open, and you see Katerina sort of step out from the back side of the door, and you see she was actually watching you through the gap between the door and the jamb, and just recognizing your voice, she's sort of recognizes it's you and just starts walking over to a little table where you can see there's some what must have been breakfast or food, what that she was sort of half in the middle of.
By the way, while this is all happening, can I sell Einar these these super fine daggers I got, and a couple short swords and scimitars
for their base prices?
Well, I got super fine daggers. I got 2 really good
Super
daggers.
fine.
Super fine. And yes, for their base prices, I'm not gonna. I got 2 fine daggers, 2 scimitars, and that'd be it.
Right. Okay. I mean,
and a purple gem.
Well,
but
he wouldn't
be able to buy that.
He wouldn't
buy
take
that,
the gem.
That was more to myself.
Let me bring it up here.
Maybe he just so needs a purple gem for the hilt of a sweet, awesome sword he's making.
Oh my god, if only there was gem socketing in this campaign. That would be perfect.
Is that a real thing to get plus 10 vitality?
Wow,
No.
Vitality isn't even like a real stat in D&D.
I mean, you can have plus 10 to a fantasy stat that does absolutely nothing.
Just does nothing.
We can
Yeah, I
do
got
that.
plus 10 vitality.
Can I have plus 10 to fantastic hair?
You already have that. Fuck.
Yeah, but I need
fair?
even more fantastic hair.
Okay. Sorry, I had to get the book set up here. Okay, so... Oh, don't get him started, Strife.
That's just a given.
I mean, that's basically his jaw previous.
Yeah, like... yes, well, I mean, I took a couple years off.
It's a hiatus. It's fine.
But me and my wife had an active bedroom life.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, there's a child involved now. Like, we had a child.
How is Bobby formed?
Samir is at least potent. He thinks. I mean, you never know. It might not be his child.
Jesus!
I mean, it's very likely his child.
What do you think, chat? Should we roll for whether it's Samir's child? I think that's a sort of key plot point.
That would not be a key plot point.
Yeah, fuck that.
Okay, so what do you want to sell? Give me the list again.
2 fine daggers, quote unquote fine, and then 2 scimitars.
Okay, so...
And the belt that they come on, if he wants it.
Okay, so daggers are normally 2, 4. Scimitar. He sort of looks them over. The scimitars is sort of like, these are kind of a dime a dozen nowadays, but still solid craftsmanship. Could probably put a little bit of an edge on them, polish them up. Yeah, I could flip these. I'll give you 40 gold for the 2 scimitars, and then daggers are better quality than most. Do 5 gold a piece for these, so
50 gold total.
50 total. That's seem
Done.
fair.
Good sir.
Okay.
And then I just toss him the belt for free. I don't want this belt on me anymore.
Okay.
While this is happening, is there still bacon like on her plate?
Bacon.
Is there still bacon specifically?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't seem that there was ever any bacon. Seems
Fuck!
sort of like maybe fruits.
You think they
and-
figured out how to make fish bacon at this point?
Does that bacon is specifically pig? Is it? No, but they have turkey bacon.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's a dirty lie.
It's a
well, it
dirty
sounds like a
lie.
lie to me. What?
It's like fruit jerky. You can't jerk fruit.
Yeah.
So you can see sort of foodstuffs, but no, it doesn't seem to be any protein. Okay.
It's a 6.
There's no protein.
Congratulations, your wife was faithful.
Doesn't seem to be any meat products.
Ugh. So I'm gonna sit there and just like look at her plate, like gross, and then ask her how she's been.
Okay, hold up. We got a new facet to Dagana here. She's apparently
An extreme carnivore.
a carnivore. One.
It's not that.
And
It's just like
she's
no
a
protein.
connoisseur of fucking carnivorism. I need this to be in your backstory somewhere.
To
That-
strengthen your body, you need protein. All right, fish has a lot of protein.
Yep.
Fruit.
Almost choked to death on broccoli as a child. Never ate it ever again.
Never ate it again.
Okay, so what did you want to ask her specifically? After you
How
frowned?
she's been and if she's heard from anybody.
Well, recovering nicely. No, I mean I haven't heard from the other two, but it did sound like I could have sworn I heard Moss downstairs. I assume he talked to Einar, told him I was here, but I didn't actually see him.
When I catch up, I'll just be saying, "Is everything all right?"
And she's turns and sees you and just sort of acknowledges you and kind of like brushes off the. Is there any problems?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let her know, like, hey, we're gonna go to the water temple and we're gonna kill people. So
Casual to go.
just let people know if you can, and then just pat her on the shoulder, and then like drink the rest of her orange juice and walk downstairs.
Okay, as you tell her, like in that list of things that you intend to do, as you tell her that you're intending to go to the water shrine, she sort of stands up and is just like, "Do you want me to come with you?" And you can see, like, she falters a little bit and a little unsteady, but not. You saw her a lot worse
Oh yeah.
10 hours prior.
Don't worry about it. You need to rest up.
Yeah.
And she sort of nods and thinks about herself, and that's probably right.
We may end up talking to the other Valhalla Dean. Just, I feel like it might be a good idea to have a bit more control over the water temple if, well, I don't know how the portal works, but if they set it up there, perhaps there's some sort of importance to the location. I know
Well-
you're not magically inclined, but just thought you should know.
Well, if you're trying to find the portal, at least I can tell you where it is. So,
That would be useful.
have you ever been inside?
No, we have never been to the water temple.
Okay, so there's only one real entrance, and that opens into this big sort of rectangular pool, and that's where everyone would go to worship and whatnot, and services would be held there. Off to the side, to the east, you'll see there's sort of a set of doors that goes to a separate area, and you have to go through those doors into what is essentially the base of the tower that you'll be able to see from the outside. And where I was being held was underneath that area. There's a trap door. It was covered by near a bookcase or something. I don't really remember all of it when I was trying to get out. I was just single-minded. But the trapdoor is there on that level, and then that takes you down into the basement, and then there's nothing in the basement other than this huge portal thing.
All right, thank you. Is Dagana drank the
And Dagana sort of
orange juice yet?
reaches and takes her orange juice, and you see her sort of looking at you like, but she doesn't.
take a woman's OJ like that.
She doesn't.
God damn.
She doesn't react.
I'm just saying, if
against
this
it.
was prison, she'd get stabbed.
She's weakened. It's fine.
I know.
That's even more of a reason to stab somebody. Somebody else takes advantage of you.
All right, so you head back downstairs. I assume Vander, you follow Dagana after the. Or do you have?
I'll tell her to take care. Where we'll be, and I'll follow Grace.
Picture of a fish wrapped in bacon, Grace.
Yes.
A bacon
No,
fish.
it's a picture of bacon shaped like a fish.
Fish made of bacon. Fish bacon.
You should have Einar bring her up some orange juice for justice.
Who are you saying this to?
The vendor. She's talking to me. Do not mock me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I sound like. Nee, don't mock me. Just like that.
Oh man.
So anything else, Vander? Or are you?
No, I'm just gonna follow back down and see where Einar and Samir are at, and
I'm just getting money.
Yeah. So you see the two of them in Einar's sort of office space that I think you've been in once before, and just sort of at this point was just sort of finishing the transaction, I guess we'd say, giving Samir a small pouch.
Oh, I see. I have a damaged rapier in my inventory. When I see them do this, I'm just going to take it out and just kind of like toss it in like a scrap pile if I see anything.
Okay. Probably
Like-
as you're coming down the stairs, you'd be able to see an area that's just sort of seems to be a catch-all basket, and you just sort of deposit it in there.
And then, you ready?
I'm gonna say to Einar, Katarina said she heard Moss in here the other night. Do you know where he might be?
Oh,
Or Kekken at that.
no, I don't know where that. And then he uses a sort of curse word in Dwarvish for Kekan. Don't know where he would have been.
You have a filthy mouth.
Moss was here sort of late last night. He seemed frantic, really, but as soon as I told him Katerina was upstairs and recuperating, he just calm. It's just like almost a whitewash on his face and much more relaxed.
I'd forgotten he was looking for her.
Yeah, seemed in quite a state when he first arrived, but he was going to go up and see her, and I was just like, let her rest, and so then don't know what he
didn't say where he was
seemed
going.
satisfied that. No, but I wouldn't ask, so
Well, damn.
Well, if we're looking for aid, I guess I have an idea.
Do tell.
We can go see where Octavia stands in all of this. See if she'll send some of the watch with us. At least watch our backs, if nothing else.
I don't even feel confident enough about my plan to take control of the water temple, or even what sort of a tactical point it is. Maybe we should just go by ourselves. If Katarina was able to escape on her own, certainly it couldn't have been that well guarded. Is it worth the risk if Octavia isn't on our side?
Well, at least we'll know if we can trust Octavia or not.
You have a plan of figuring out her stance?
No, I'm just gonna ask her.
Or we could just do it and figure out if she's pissed at the end of it or not.
Because we're gonna need her help in the end to probably get rid of the whitecaps in the harbor. City Watch might be pivotal in that, so if we can secure her aid here, she might help us there.
I'll let you take the lead on this, Samir. I don't.
Why am I the one talking? You guys know I'm not the best. Well, I know Dagana should probably take the talking part. She likes to talk to women.
I can do that.
For the
The last
purposes,
time you talked to her, V, she nearly killed you.
That was, yeah.
for the purposes of the chat, Samir has had a few run-ins with,
His mouth.
yes. He says things at times that make NPCs angry. Be able to rationalize that this part, this big section, is probably what she was talking about in the where the water
Where they
pool
pray.
is or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Probably won't.
probably won't. Okay, so Samir, you've been delegated authority.
All right, I'm just gonna head up. Well, let's go to Octavius.
Okay.
Boop.
Nope. See what's what. Go through. This is the where's this is the water temple?
This is Octavia.
No, that's
No,
not.
no, it's not.
Oh, no, that's the barmaid. That's right.
So this is the water temple, this building here.
Okay.
So you could, Vander, you'd be able to rationalize that this part, this big section, is probably what she was talking about in the where the water
Where they
pool
pray.
is or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And that this would be the
tower.
only tower that's attached to the building would probably be the one.
What's the entrance in here? Like, is there a path like through here or?
Correct. Yeah, it comes
between
down
here?
comes down that way.
Okay. From that like center thoroughfare thing. Okay.
Correct. And so yes, this is Octavius here in. I guess you'd probably know it's just normally referred to as like the governor's hall.
Yeah, we've heard it referenced as that before.
We've been there a few times.
I've been there at least twice, but always only to see her. No,
Yep.
that's not true. Samir has been there on other business, but only on his own.
Business that I didn't know about.
Yeah, only that's been on his own time. Okay, so you sort of, say your goodbyes to Einar, and head out, sort of walking along the street. A little more activity now, more people going about their morning business, but nothing too strange. And you get into the sort of the foyer or entryway to the governor's hall, and there's a member, sort of a large male individual, armored in the sort of the city watch garb that you're accustomed to, who sort of stops you and asks you your business. And you tell him you're here to talk to Octavia.
Octavia.
And he sort of says, okay, but on what business?
I will just show him this little slip of paper that she gave me with her signature and shit, and just says I need to talk to her.
Okay, and he sort of takes it and examines it. Okay, and he sort of sends someone off to assumably relay this message, and a minute or two goes by. Same guy comes back, sort of waving you forward, and he leads you up to Octavia's office, where you've been there before, and she's sitting behind her desk.
That was the slip of paper that she gave us to help us get through the gates.
The gates, yeah.
Okay. I was just curious.
But it seemed to be enough that you know that she
Yeah,
knows
that
you.
she gave us a personal message, so obviously there's some sort of
Right.
rapport there.
So she looks up as you enter and is like, "Well, that cave was something else. I'll grant you that. The stories the boys brought back was disturbing."
Did they take care of it?
Stories. What happened?
Well, I'll be honest. I had my doubts about your little skinny elf going along and whatnot, but she proved to be the deciding factor, or the key point. She was able to neutralize whatever that filth was. So hopefully it won't be a problem. I'll credit you on alerting that to us.
Tefana has always been helpful for us.
for the purposes of the chat, what the captain of the guard is referring to a previous session where the players sort of found this natural spring inside a hill complex that had been corrupted, so that any living thing that touched the water from it sort of turned to a state of undead. And there were these individuals who were trying to sort of almost bottle it in casks, and they were going to replace all of the or some of the ale barrels in the city with this sort of toxic liquid to try and, who knows what it would have done to the city. The players were able to stop that sort of production, but they couldn't do anything about the actual spring and its sort of toxic characteristics. So they came back, reported that to the city watch and to the captain here, and she said she would either blockade it or try and sort it out. And it seems from what she's saying that she was able to do so.
And that was our first encounter with who Vander believes is the necromancer.
Correct. The first time they actually saw her.
Okay. As we're talking about this, have you heard about the cemetery north of the city then?
No. What now?
So, I don't know. Do you want me to spell it out, or I could just say, like...
Yeah, we'll say that you explained to
I'll
her.
just sort of explain what happened with all that, and more of the same occurred there, and that they hopefully have quarantined it, at least a little bit, but again, it hasn't been handled.
Okay.
But we have more important things at the moment.
Okay,
I'll just say at the end.
Okay, for the purposes of the chat, there was a similar situation that happened in a graveyard or in a cemetery by the sort of... There's a very small little sort of farming hamlet that's just north of the city, and their cemetery... someone had deliberately spilled one of these barrels as sort of maybe testing, who knows, in the graves, and it had caused a lot of undead to rise up, and the players intercepted that, dispelled with the undead, but then once again couldn't do anything about the actual toxins in the ground. So they had told the bailiff of the hamlet to seal it off, but they didn't know if he actually did it or not. So
Told them they needed fucking gates for cemeteries.
they had no gates on their cemetery. Yeah.
Gates are useful.
So you relay this to her, and she's sort of you process it, and sort of like, well, we'll have to get some of that, whatever that weed. I don't know. The reports are confusing. What the guardsman wrote down, that this elf woman, some sort of red weed. I don't know. That's what it says. Red weed. They're guards. What do you want? I'll talk to your elf friend and see if we can find more of whatever it was she was using. What's this? What are more pressing issues?
Where do you stand with the wardens? I'm just gonna ask her outright.
Straight out.
Mm-hmm. What's your stance with the wardens?
You can see her sort of thinking about what she wants to say and what she wants to say to you out loud,
Mm-hmm.
and what her position actually is. Probably doing the mental cogs.
And I would just sort of gesture at us and just like, you probably have at least heard at what's been going on just outside of your place of business here. So you know where we stand.
And you see this sly, like, not a smile, but the corner of her mouth lifts up a little bit, and she gestures her head over in the direction of Vander, and just been like, yeah, your friend here is a little inconspicuous at times. I myself
What makes you say that? Offended.
Well,
Vander,
just
look at yourself in the mirror one day. Just one day. Look
I
at
don't
yourself
have
in
to.
the
I have
mirror.
my shield.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because just the other day, as I was looking out my window and hearing all sorts of noise from the street below, there was this large mailed individual seemed to be in conflict with several friends alongside him and a group of what must have been warden soldiers, just not 30 feet from my door. It was something of a sight to see.
Did you like what you saw?
I didn't see anyone of the city populace who was in danger, so it didn't seem like it was a matter for the watch.
Well, and then
This is just in reference what I think about. This was the conflict that we sort of had right here.
in
where
front
we-
of the academy.
This is the one where the dwarf comes up with the sword
Yes.
and fucking rips that guy in half.
No, it would have
Isn't
been after. Oh no, yes, that's
threw an axe at somebody and just one-shot them.
it would have been after your conflict with Donovan and the
Yeah, when we were-
blasting horn that basically alerted everyone within 100 or 200 feet that something was going on.
Yeah.
So yes, she would have seen. You can piece together that she would have been able to see not only that battle, but that at least if not more than one member of the Velahadin was aiding you in some way, and then off you went as a group with them, with bodies left in the street.
All right. Well,
Out of character, cleaning up bodies is a lot of goddamn work. Because goddamn,
How do you know?
well, we agreed to help the people at the academy
that's
after the
right.
terribleness of Donovan caused, and it took
So even though he
Forever.
said out of character, he actually means
It was still in character.
you meant in character.
Yeah.
I'll just say, well, none of your citizens are going to continue to not be in conflict. And then just turn around and start to walk out.
None of your citizens are going to continue to not be in conflict.
I was very confused by this sentence as well.
I take off my helmet and scratch my head and watch her leave.
Okay, so Dagana has
She
said
She's-
something.
I was wondering if you would want to make your stance a little bit more known, because we're about to go root out the remnants of the wardens over at the water temple.
It's probably important that you know that Eleonora is dead.
And Eleonora is dead.
And you see her sort of take this in, process this information.
Along with all of her lieutenants, as far as we're aware. But it seems like they might have some portal or something that's allowing them to transfer more people here, and we're gonna...
Oh, the Keeper portal. She pipes up at that, and is just sort of like that seems to be known
The
to
who
her. There's
Keepers, wardens, what's the difference?
there's a very big difference.
I'd never understand.
And and also for the purposes of the chat, she explains to you that there are keepers in every city, or most cities. Any city or town large enough to be of interest probably has some keepers, and it is their job to sort of preserve whatever the temple or shrine that is dedicated to the ruler of the entire island. So the keepers are one kind of unit, and they're everywhere in varying numbers. The wardens are a specific group in an area north of where you are that sort of control that geographical area. They obviously have keepers within them, and they sort of identify as a kind of a I don't want to say religious, but they are a sect. But they are not. Some wardens are keepers, not all keepers are wardens.
Got
I
it.
think that works out. So as
I scratch my head again.
she explains that almost all of these water shrines have a portal within them that the keepers use to move around. That's just sort of that's commonly known. But she sort of asks you, what is, have you, kind of almost with hesitant language, have you done anything to Atsuko? And this is a name you've not heard.
Who? What is an Asuko?
Atsuko is a woman who was our new head priestess of the Keepers. She came after the incident that caused us to apparently resurface out of the ocean. Our previous priestess was recalled for whatever reasons, and she sort of hesitates to say that. But Atsuko is the woman who is in charge of the keepers here in this city. You haven't seen her?
No. I'm assuming if she's alive, she's in the water temple.
Why do you place such import on her?
You can see her deciding what she's going to say. Let me put it bluntly. She's a keeper, but she's a politician. So she's one of the more rational individuals you'll find in the sort of city organization. Her place is to be a spiritual shepherd, but she's a political animal at the same time and realizes realities.
So are you trying to say that she was the reason that the wardens were using the portal and not just keepers?
I highly doubt she would go along with anything that would strengthen the wardens, especially in this city, from what little I know of her.
So, and she's a citizen of this city. So the Watch have a reason to come with us into the water temple to see if she's okay.
Make a persuasion check.
Fuck! I'm not so good at this. Yeah. Oh, yes!
Why didn't I
Very
see
close
it?
to a fucking perfect roll.
You didn't see it, Bandit?
Nope.
I saw it just fine.
That's the best persuasion roll I've rolled since we started this game.
Let me restart.
You can
Roll 20.
Can you at least see it in the text scroll?
No, it wasn't even in chat, so I'll just restart. Roll 20.
Very much love, Deuce.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. I see it now that I've restarted.
See, this
Damn.
is what
rock.
for those who have never seen my rolling on Sour Kool-Aid Show. The great thing about this is my rolls, which are historically of one type or the other, should lead to great story development. Now my players don't actually know what that means because they've never seen my SKS rolls. So we'll just leave that. Okay, so you say this to her, and you can see her kind of process it. And she goes, "Makes sense to me." And she calls out to her page, who's outside the door, and is just like, "Bring in." And she rattles off a list of 5 names. Sounds like. Have them downstairs, and we'll 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Make ready. I'm gonna have them escort these 3 individuals to the shrine. So she sounds like she's giving you 5 people.
All right. Do we get a warrant? Is that a thing in this city?
No.
Okay. Let's just make sure.
Judge Octavia.
Unlike the
Could totally be like Judge
How
Dredd.
it works?
Like,
I don't know how it works.
yeah.
totally fits with Octavia. Probably no sweet gun, though.
Do you want to ask her anything else?
That about does it. I just, thank her for not judging us based on the big shiny one.
I'll say to her, I know you and I haven't got on off to the best, well, I'm just wondering, you seem very hooked into the political situation here. With the warden seemingly, well, for the most part evicted, what do you think we can do about the Whitecaps? Because they're possibly even more of a hindrance to our travel here. And to be honest, I've got my own business to attend to.
And you see her sort of have this heavy sigh, and just kind of puts her hands down in her, or her head down in her hands for a second, and just like one issue at a time. The wardens are definitely the more pressing issue. It seems the Whitecaps have just been, I mean, they're giving a little trouble to the docks, but they're not actively moving against the city, at least from what my reports have been.
Do you think if the wardens are no longer a presence here, they'll stand down?
You see her thinking. No. The sad thing is, we're too much of a resource now. That if they want this for themselves, they're going to continue to try and press the issue.
Okay.
Well, like you said, one thing at a time, and I start heading out.
Thank you for the help.
Okay. And so you head downstairs, and there is where we're going to take just a few minute break so I can set up and do a few things.
Okay.
So bathroom, food, whatever you need. Okay, so as you've gotten to the as you exit, you see these sort of 5 individuals that are kind of going to escort you through the city. Seem to be 3 that are kind of martial in nature. Two women with these sort of large kind of spikes or pole arms that you've seen a lot of the City Watch use, and then a man, sort of.
What are their names?
Can you just do that to be a fucking dickhead right now?
Well, no, but he wants to talk
might.
to them. How is he supposed to say,
Yeah.
"Hey, dude with spear"?
I really
That's how
really
you refer to
awkward.
them.
I like your hair, spear lady number 1.
Spear and lady number 1. Yeah. So the first woman's name is.
I don't really need their names.
You're getting their names right now.
Okay.
Go fuck yourself.
And he's forgot them. They're gone.
You fake yourself.
And now I'm calling you Rudolph number 3.
The first woman's name is Sina. The second woman's name is Ween.
Wait, which is the first woman? Which is the second woman?
I think this would be.
Because you have 3 women.
Yeah.
Here's the-
3 woman.
We have 3 women.
3 woman.
3 women.
Now, I'm only talking about the martial individuals yet. I haven't
Okay.
gotten to the other 2.
Okay.
So,
Sina.
this one here, that's Sina. This is Ween with a W.
Why do they
Okay.
call you Ween?
The man's name is Artin.
Which one?
The
The martial
I'll pick him.
individuals.
this
The
one.
dude that has a mace.
Yep. He's sort of dark-skinned, wearing what looks to be like a splint mail sort of shirt. And then there are 2 others that seem, from the way they carry themselves, seem to be sort of magical in nature, or Could maybe be monks, not really sure, but they're not overtly carrying weapons like the other two are. And the man introduces himself as Giles, sort of simple name.
Was it G or was it G?
With a G.
Have you been? How's the watching the Vampire Slayer been doing? Has been going okay?
He has no idea what you're talking about.
Vampires? In Scotland as where? Samir, why didn't you tell us about this?
I'm talking about the Vampire Slayer, the Slayer of Vampires. G. Don't worry about it.
He must be quite the character.
Giles asks, how can there be a vampire
It's a
slayer
she.
if there aren't vampires?
It's a she because she
He obviously killed them.
Makes sense. So we got Cena, we got Ween, we've got Giles,
Arton.
and we got Arton, and the last woman introduces herself as... No, I don't like that name.
No, I don't like that one.
Hey, you wanted it, you're getting it.
I'm not. I am enjoying every second of this.
Iris, the sort of the smallest of the group, maybe in early 20s at the most, introduces herself as Iris.
I'm gonna take her to the side
And that
and
would
say,
be her.
I'm gonna take her over to the side a little bit and say, watch that one. He's very sexy and he needs some action. You're, feeling frisky at the end of this battle.
You're pointing at Vander, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Big, tall.
God, way to assume, Olaf. That's rude.
I'm asking for clarification from Booby.
I'm saying he.
The NPC isn't asking for clarification. She understands. She
gets it.
She seems a little shy with Samir talking to her.
Don't be shy. You're a warrior. It's gonna be fine.
Who did Octavia say the priestess was again?
The woman who you're going to check on, you mean?
Yes.
She called her Atsuko.
Atsuko. Okay.
I am gonna
Do one of these guards
ban all of the players from chat. Even if it means there's like two people talking to each other by themselves, I'm gonna ban the players. Okay, so you have sort of 3 martial guards and 2 other individuals in this group of 5, sort of leading you along. Giles, the
Watcher.
the bigger, the non-martial individual,
this guy.
that guy.
I was going to say the bald guy, but then I was like, wait, they're both bald.
Yeah, is sort of leading the group and kind of like, gesturing everyone to follow as you move throughout the city, and until you get to the water shrine and sort of come up to the front door, which you find open, and you can see into the sort of foyer, I guess it would be. That's
Are we outside? Is that what's
you're all
Yeah, we're
you're
outside.
all outside
Yeah.
right now, and you can just
Okay.
see inside the
That makes sense now.
vestibule.
Thanks.
Who are you saying thanks to?
For telling us it's a vestibule and not whatever he called it before.
A foyer.
Foyer.
the lobby
Yeah.
or
Apparently
something.
there's a difference between those 3 words. Vander is clueless. That's what
And
they
chat, this is your time to help us figure out what the difference between a foyer and a vestibule is. 1, 2, 3, go. No one will look it up.
I'm not ready.
It's okay. I've turned links off, so who knows?
So does Giles make to like open the door or
the
anything?
door is open. You can. That's why you can see.
That's why we can see
I
inside.
walk
Sort of
into the vestibule.
Okay. All right.
This is a nice lobby, I say.
You don't even
I
know
don't
what a
say
lobby
that.
is.
Oh my god.
Son of a bitch.
DM, I would like to enter the vestibule, please.
Yes.
Oh, is this you
I will
controlling us now
follow-
at this
I
point?
I
shouldn't
will
be.
follow
no.
behind.
Okay. No,
the
I just
Vander.
wasn't sure because in
Yeah.
action, I wasn't sure if we were calling action or anything like that.
I will
So-
follow behind the Vander.
Okay. So you move in and you find there's sort of this really ornately covered or carved double door, sort of at the end of this small chamber.
Do I recognize any symbols on it?
Hang on, the music's a little dramatic here.
I mean, it's a dramatic foyer.
It might be. Or
It might just be an atrium, guys. Just let's calm down.
It could be open air and maybe it's a pergola. No,
It's not a
It's a
fucking
room.
pergola. Don't even give me that
it's
shit.
probably
Maybe
not
it's
a
just the
pergola.
mudroom. Let's just call it the mudroom.
Could be a mudroom.
Give me a
No, it's like a church, man. It's not a
a
mudroom.
religion check, Vander. We'll see if you can piece
Have you not
together
seen
anything.
these filthy streets? They got dead people and everything. Of course they have a mudroom.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
While he's doing that, I'm doing the ear, trying to see if I hear anything
Okay, so that's perception.
beyond Vander's big ass running up and down these streets.
Okay. And
You're so receptive.
before I go, Dagana, are you doing anything specific or just watching?
I was
these
just going
two
to
do?
check the door handles and the big doors.
See if they're locked or
So-
whatnot?
yeah.
Okay. So Vander, as you watch Dagana moving up towards the door, you can see there seem to be on the door there are a series of carvings that look to be like scenes, and you're familiar with that. This is sort of a common motif in religious buildings that making decorations out of pivotal moments of particular gods or special individuals is often done. So you can recognize that that's what it is, but what the actual scenery is, you're not sure. You are struck by what seems like there's a lot of obviously human beings. The one thing that immediately stands out is there's one figure who seems to be fairly prominent, who instead of having legs has what looks to be a whirlwind, or it looks like almost like a tornado maybe. That's how it's been carved into the door, and that's very strange, especially given that this figure seems pretty prominent in the series of carvings, but you don't recognize any like deity symbols.
Okay.
And that's also strange, given that you know not only your own deity, but because of that you would know a lot of the others as well that interact in various different ways in the pantheon, and not seeing any sort of puts you. That's strange. Samir, you don't hear anything really out of place. You don't hear any talking or conversation. But then your sort of compatriots or your escort aren't really trying to be that quiet themselves. So they're sort of talking to one another about just idle banter. Okay. So Dagana, you go up and you find the door, the two double doors. There doesn't seem to be any latch on them. There's no lock holes or anything like that. They're just sort of these large handles that are sort of, you can tell from the way it's hung, the doors open in. And just sort of give it a little bit of a push, and it seems it's moving. I don't know if you want to open them all the way or you just wanted to test it. So
No, I just wanted to test it, and then I'll back up and gesture if Vander wants to go.
After you, Vander.
I open the
Kick
doors.
door down.
Okay.
I kicked the door down.
I don't kick the door. It's a nice church.
Okay.
Water temple.
Thing. Right. So whoop.
Filled with water.
So
Yes, Samir, that's what water temples do.
With let's not pretend like you're all knowing about water temples, Vander. This is the first time you've been on this island as well, motherfucker.
Katerina told us that there was water here.
I don't pay attention. I was too distracted.
Obviously. What is this?
So,
I say, and points to it.
So once
How deep is the water?
Vander's opened the doors, the double doors, and there's enough now room that anyone behind him, as you sort of file in, can see. And the room is a big rectangle in shape, and as Vander is pointing at it, right here in the middle, seems to be a sort of pedestal that is raised in the center of the pool. That you could see it's a
Oh, it's like a broken statue.
it's a square column that you see 2 feet on the bottom of that are broken, and the actual statue has then fallen into the pool.
So how deep is the pool?
Well, from where you are, having gone through these doors, there's a series of steps, sort of almost right at your feet where you are, and it goes down only about 2.5 feet. It doesn't seem like a bathing sort of thing. It seems like
step onto the water and go investigate the.
Okay, and you also see on either side there are raised areas down here on what would be the west side of the pool area. Seems to be where is an altar of some form, or it seems to be some sort of equipment that would be used in some kind of religious service. It's down on this end is where you see, other than the pillars, the only other thing of note down there is another set of doors, smaller than the ones you just came in. So Samir,
skipping across the water, happy that it's water that I can skip on.
Samir
Does it seem like salt water? Like, do we smell salt water? Just out of curiosity.
You can taste it too.
Well, I'm not going to taste it. I don't want to taste it. People are probably walking it in stuff. Ugh, gross.
You know?
Oh.
Here's what we'll do. We'll do...
I want to know if it's brackish.
Just for the sake...
Pond water?
I don't know. I didn't plan
What kind
that.
of water are we dealing with?
So
I just don't want to get salt water on my metal armor, because then it'll get all gross and...
What is this, like northern Minnesota?
I actually have no idea.
January? I don't want to get salt on my car. Nah. If it's 1, I'm gonna do a roll. If it's 1 to 5,
I'm just gonna
it's salt
straight up
water.
while they're debating on the water issue. I'm just gonna walk over here.
6 to 10, it's fresh water. Okay, it's fresh water.
What about in between?
Well, it's important, because now we know that they don't worship specifically a saltwater god.
Maybe.
I walk over here, and you guys, are these people following us?
I'm not moving all of them.
No, I'm not asking you to move them. I just want to know if they're actually like coming in with us.
I'm moving them now. Now that you've asked.
I was in, by the
Way
way,
to be so contrary.
standing up top of the water. I would like to investigate this motherfucking statue and see what knocked it down.
Okay.
And I'll investigate the altar as well, but after that, just take your time.
Well, we're gonna need an investigation check from both of you.
Fuck.
While you figure that out. So
Mine's really bad.
Oh,
Ooh, that flirted with a
so
4.
close to being a 3.
Okay. So what Samir's talking about, how he's walking on water from one of the more powerful NPCs that they killed earlier in the campaign. They had a ring that allowed, among other things, the ability to actually walk on water, and he enjoys doing that.
You can tell by the way I skip across the water.
Okay. So Samir, as you go up to the statue, you give me a perception check as well.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Motherfucker. Why are you not working with me? Ear pop out window. Perception. 15.
Okay. You can see there seems to be some similarity between the statue and what was carved on the doors, like that. This sort of the prominent figure seems to be the same. You can't really tell more about it other than it's obvious the statue's been broken, but you can't tell how or how long or anything like that. Dagana, you find in sort of this like altar area a series of vials containing different types of what looks to be water, and a few empty bowls, sort of seem to be kind of earthenware in construction.
All right, cool. So I'm just going to walk
watching to see
behind her.
if any of the other people are watching me skip across the water.
To see if they're impressed.
You as you started to do it, you could definitely kind of hear some sort of like gasps or exclamations behind you.
Let's stay on track, everyone, and I
I'm
open
like,
these
now
doors.
I'm all like, now I'm even more like pumped up, just poofing out my chest a little bit, making sure my hair is perfectly intact.
Samir, you preening motherfucker.
That's the word I was looking for, preening. Thank you.
Okay, and so Giles sort of is the one kind of keeping pace with Vander and Dagana.
I'd be skipping along behind them.
Okay.
Are we still moving
Is
ourselves?
he next to Cena or Ween?
I'm
Schiffer,
next-
I swear to God.
Now, this one right here is Cena, and this one right here is Ween. I can tell because one of them has been checking out your ass this entire time.
My shiny metal ass.
I'm just.
And if you wanted to know, it was Ween.
We're gonna write that down.
God damn it!
That might be that might be important for character development. Never know. So you come to the smaller set of doors, and just are able to. This has a more standard sort of door latch and whatnot, but you're able to just almost with no effort push it open, and inside you find sort of the base. This is obviously the base of the tower. Seems to be sort of office keeping or of some sort. There's a very large table here in the center that's strewn with all sorts of papers and books and stuff like that. A separate cabinet in the back. Another cabinet on the north wall here, and then a series of stairs going up on the southern wall.
Okay, so I go to the rug immediately and yeah,
Okay.
lift it up.
Are there any traps under here?
She said it was underneath the trap door, Samir.
I wasn't talking. Calm down.
Okay. This would be an investigation roll for Vander.
To lift up the friggin' rug?
No, you lift up the
man.
rug, but
You said the stairs go up?
This
the
building
stairs
is
go
way
up
smaller
and
than I thought it
only
would be.
go up.
Not like a plank of wood? Holy shit.
This makes logical sense to Vander. Like, this is where she said it should be, but this just looks like a stone floor to you.
Katerina said there would be a trap door in here. There's nothing here.
Why don't you try?
I look underneath the table next.
Why don't you try stomping your foot down to see if there's a hollow spot?
A hollow spot? She said it was a trap door. Surely
Yes.
it should be easy enough to find, and I look underneath the table.
Okay. We'll need another investigation roll for under the table.
I'm getting better. I'm practicing.
And so Vander, 6'1" of Vander in full armor, puts down the rug, turns around and looks at this table and just sort of frustrated with himself, gets down on all fours to get under this table, which essentially, given his girth and size, means he's like crammed underneath there.
Glad I didn't have to roll to not knock it over.
Sort of looking around and like, this is the underside of a table. It's dusty and dirty down here, but there doesn't seem to be any trap door.
Can I investigate this area?
Yep.
Meow.
All right. Well, I get up and huff around and brush myself off, and
Fuck.
I don't know.
God damn it! It was flirting with a 16.
Yeah, Dagana. As Dagana looks at it, this seems like this is just a
And I
plain old
perceive a
stone
fucking difference
floor.
in the floor instead of investigate. Can I use my perception while they're over there digging around and shit? I'm just like, can I look to see if it's there? Because I don't. They're saying there's a trapdoor. I wasn't there when I heard it. I'm just gonna look, not try to investigate this motherfucker.
This is called gaming the game.
It's perception.
This is called.
I'm trying to see.
I'm not good at investigation, but I'm really good at perception. Let me come up with a reason.
Well, it's a trap door, and I'm using my eyeballs.
Okay. Survivor in chat is saying investigation is the same as perception, which it's not, but okay, we'll say you're watching as Dagana and Samir try and do this, and maybe
I might
notice
roll
something.
very terribly.
Let's see.
We never know.
Oh. It was like
Oh,
so close.
Like, yeah, no.
oh god, that was so like it was just sitting on it. It was like nope.
You
And it
find the
said no
priest's secret
really
stash.
fast.
So as Vander was getting up from having and proceeding to go and look under the table, you think you heard something like that wasn't quite right from as he was getting up from searching in the corner.
Okay. Is there stairs to my right, or is that what is that?
There are stairs right here going up.
Okay.
So the south of the room, there's a set of stone stairs going up to the next floor. And actually, with your 19 of perception, you would be able to hear someone shuffling around upstairs. And as you do...
Sound like a loud someone?
No, doesn't sound loud. And sort of, I have to remember we have all these NPCs with you. So Giles, sort of taking a look around and watching Vander...
I would just say
doing
point upstairs at to see.
And he sort of looks up and sort of nods his head and motions to the rest of the cohort, and they go up the stairs. They go.
Does Ween take a moment to stare at Vander under this fucking table?
One moment.
I mean, he's face down, ass up right now. Like you can't get better than that.
Yes, in fact, she does pause for a moment to sort of marvel at the sight of a 6 foot plus armored half plate male individual crammed under a table, swearing that there is a trapdoor here.
Oh, that's so funny.
So the NPCs
Wow.
go up the.
While they're doing that, I'm just gonna walk over to this thing, lift up the rug, and like stomp my foot around to see where the hollow spot might be.
Okay. As you do, and you do hear like there is a definite sort of tung, 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 boom. Like there's a different sound in one sort of corner. The floor is not right here, but you do also, all of you in the room you'd be able to hear there's a conversation going on above you.
Well,
'Cause it's-
Vander, there is a trapdoor somewhere in this vicinity where I'm bonking hollow sounds. Good luck
Okay.
finding it, and then I'm gonna go upstairs.
Okay.
And I would like tap on it a couple extra times just so he
Knows exactly
just to
where
make
you
because
met.
his I'm imagining he's like under the table looking over like that a little bit. I'm just like, see where my foot is? Around there somewhere.
Okay. And so then you're going to go up. Vander, what do you want to do as Samir starts to seemingly head for the stairs? You've just gotten up from being under the table.
Okay, so I brushed myself off. Dagana couldn't find anything in the same spot that I had looked.
Didn't seem to.
Where Booby was, or where Samir was. I'll go over to where he was knocking and investigate again, I guess. Do I get advantage because I know where it is now?
Yep, we'll say with advantage.
Oh god, I'm so excited.
9.
Well, it gets better.
So with the 13, you sort of at first you sort of hit in the same place as Samir was pounding, and you're like, yeah, that's definitely different. And sort of you work your way around, trying to see how big or what it might be, and like it's there, it's obvious it's there, but how it. And just sort of in a little bit of, he kind of just, in frustration, knocked the side of the wall, and one of the bricks just goes.
I found it.
And the stone floor just sort of retracts then into the like a moon roof would do. Into the rest of the floor, and you can see a sort of this is a spiral staircase of some sort going down.
Oh god, why are they always
Seems to be
staircases?
dimly lit down below you. They're not always.
I make
spiral
sure that my
staircase.
feet are not covered in oil before I go down.
You're going down, we're going up. Everybody else went up.
Your feet are wet.
No, I'm just
like soggy from actually trudging through 2 feet of water, but not oily.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna wait in this room till I hear
Careful,
whatever's
careful.
happening up top.
Okay.
Careful, someone might throw oil at your feet.
Yep.
What
I'm
they're
not gonna
talking,
wait on the edge. I'm gonna wait.
What they're talking about was in a previous encounter, Vander had oil of slipperiness, I think is what it's officially called, thrown at his feet, and was knocked prone and could not get up for quite some time. And when he
He had
eventually
to drag
did,
himself out of it on hands and knees.
and when he eventually did, he then had to go down a series of stairs, which he fell, and ding, 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 down the stairs. However,
this was where Booby got the shards in his
Correct.
back, and so technically
it was a
this
blessing
save
in disguise.
being filled with shards, and also is when Dagana got knocked down below, so she also didn't get hit by shards because she was on the ground.
Yes, I'm the only person with shards in my back. I
Yeah.
know,
I'm glad you're reminded of that.
motherfucker.
Okay. So Samir, so you're watching. You see Samir going up the stairs, and
Oh, Dagana, what are you doing?
Vander seems to have found the trapdoor, Dagana, and it is opened up. He's quite proud of himself. Samir is
I
heading
let
for
out
the
a
stairs.
triumphant. I found it.
Are you going? So you're going down?
I
I
went
basically am looking where Samir and
because we hearing
went.
conversation going on upstairs.
Oh, okay.
everybody basically went upstairs except for you and I. Without really saying anything to us, except there's a trap door. It's totally there.
And I just pounded on the spot until he fucking saw it.
Do you? I'll just be like, you want to go?
Well, I'm not sure where they went, but
You can
Maybe
hear
we
the
should-
talking.
Yeah, but I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know if there was someone up there or anything, because you guys all went up there. So as far as I know, you're just talking to each other. I say
We're just discussing the merits of your ass up here. Don't worry.
apparently. Well, we might as well wait for them to come back down and see if they've found anything. I guess they're just checking if there's maybe some wardens up there keeping watch or something.
Okay, so Vander's staying down. Samir's already on his way. He's halfway up the stairs. Are you staying with Vander or going with Samir? Or going down the newly found trapdoor?
I'm gonna go down the stairs really quietly, though. I'll do a little
Okay. This
little
is,
sneaky snake.
okay, give me a stealth roll. 15. Okay.
Scouting it out, I say under my breath. That's a good idea.
Since Dagana is going to be moving slowly and carefully, I'm going to switch the scene for Samir's thing first, and then we'll go to Dagana.
Cool. Whoa.
Oh,
Well,
hello there.
Stairs are a little cut off, aren't they? Interesting.
same with her pants.
Yep. Well, you're not there. You're not there.
That's just the way that they dress here, Dagana.
Don't be so judgmental.
Oh God, I'm gigantic.
Yeah, hang on.
That's what she said.
I mean, not really. You're the same size as she is.
Yep, that's
Oh, I know. I was zoomed in.
Oh.
I'm just going to bring one of the NPCs in, but know that all 5 of them are up there. Okay?
Okay.
Um,
So
so,
as I come up the stairs.
yeah, you come up the stairs, which are here down, are sort of down at the bottom. For some reason, they're not showing up in the actual room. You see there's another set of stairs on the northern side that is going up again, assumably maybe to the roof or top of the tower. And the 5 individuals are are just sort of casually around here.
Arrayed.
You see a large fireplace right there, a very large bed, several cabinets with some things on top of them and shelf units and whatnot. But what's really kind of striking is this individual here, who is sort of dark-skinned woman, probably, I don't know, 165 pounds, and is wearing a very sort of strange kind of costume or outfit that you've never seen before, and is conversing back and forth with the city watch that you came in with.
Well, did I hear what they were talking about?
Oh, that's what is. I see a Constitution saving throw.
I didn't know if I needed to make perception or not. I was
Yeah,
asking.
if you.
That had nothing to do with that.
I think I know what that was for.
Yeah, I think so do I. Give me a perception. You don't really catch all of it, but as you're coming up, it seems you'd sort of gotten used to what the 5 guardsmen, like what their voice was, and this new individual who you can now see, her voice was considerably different. Actually, I'll throw her. For next week, I will.
Discord.
Yeah, for next week, I'll be able to show the chat more easily who these individuals are. But we're gonna put it in Discord for now, in the actual right channel. Once I can remember who this person is. There we go. Come on. Play nice. There we go. And you sort of get a sense of what her voice sounds like, and she seems to be kind of complaining No, that didn't go through. Come on. There we go. Frustrated and sort of exasperated, talking about, you hear the word imprisonment and nothing I could do, said several times from her tone of voice.
I would just come up, the wardens, where are they?
You're asking that question?
I'm asking that question of her.
Or just to, you're asking it specifically to her, or just anyone who?
Well, specifically to her, but if the others know, then...
Okay. So she sort of turns sharply and seeing you, and is just like, who is this? And the Giles is just sort of like, he was someone that Octavia, he somehow caught up in all of this, and they were coming to sort of see what the situation was here. She asked us to escort him. Whoever they are, they're on. Octavia wants us to pay them mind. And she sort of calms in some way and says, well, there are no wardens here, I'll tell you that much. And sort of this, you could tell from her body language and the way she's sort of talking that she's quite frustrated. Not really, doesn't seem like it's wholly directed at you.
Can I tell if she's speaking the truth or not?
Insight check.
Bam.
23. Everything, like, you've been around a lot of people who bend the truth. You sort of, you can tell this just seems like genuine frustration. She kind of, like, when she said the word wardens, it's almost like she spit it.
And I heard you say imprisonment. What do you mean imprisonment?
And she sort of thinks about what she's gonna say or how she's gonna say it, and decides to carry forward. I've been here for how long has it been? I don't even know. A week? Stuck in this room, not able to do anything. And that bitch used me as her talking puppet, it seemed.
Which bitch? There are quite a few in this city.
Well, Giles is saying that Eleanor has been killed, correct?
I killed her, yes, and I would brandish her whip if she would recognize it.
You could tell she definitely does. As you sort of uncoil it and bring it out, she definitely does recognize it, and her whole sort of facial demeanor, which was kind of really defensive and who is this guy and talking and whatnot, all sort of changes, and sort of softens a little bit. She's, well, then you have my thanks at the very least.
And who are you?
My name is Atsuko Marid. I'm the High Priestess here. One who should be in charge, thankfully, is now restored to that. No power of my own.
What happened to the wardens that were keeping you captive?
I had them expelled, and it wasn't the wardens that were keeping me captive. It was that vile woman's... I don't know. She gestures over to the one of the cabinets that has this sort of what looks to be kind of like a glass stone on top of it. Sort of seems cloudy. She gestures over towards it. Is like, whatever that thing is why I couldn't leave this room for a week. Seems some form of imprisonment. Eleonora had me imprisoned here.
I would ask any of the... If any of you guys are magically inclined, do you want to inspect that to see what's up with it? While I would continue listening to her.
So it's the little one, Iris.
Iris.
The smaller of the two. She goes up to it and sort of examines it and goes, Well, this is sort of, it's a kind of, it doesn't seem to be active anymore, but I've seen these before. There's sort of like hang on, I got battle music going on in the background.
Yeah, we're having a total battle right now.
Battle of the
Samir is on the inside.
This swords.
Meanwhile, Dagana's getting slaughtered by 1,000,000 beholders.
Not one or two, but 1,000,000. And she's sort of like, well, it creates a small bubble that is sort of like it functions as a holding cell or a prison. It's sort of like a hold person, but in a contained area. So normally, I've seen these used for transporting prisoners or things like that. Never seen it sort of used in this way, but.
So you just like throw it at them and it captures them like a.
Well, I don't know exactly how it works. Normally they have like a command word of some sort. I'm surprised. And she looks over to the woman who you now identify as Atsuko, and sort of like, I'm surprised this was an issue for you, ma'am. This is kind of simple magic. And Atsuko kind of snaps her head over.
Damn!
Told.
It's just like, it's far more than simple magic, girl.
I'm just standing going like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting to see anything Iris says anything. What's Iris doing?
Once she's snapped at, she sort of drops the device.
Careful!
And then it only falls about a few inches onto the top of this cabinet, and she's looking straight at Atsuko, and it's kind of like, sorry, I'm sorry, and sort of puts her head down, and puts her sort of hands behind her head, and has retreated into a very sort of submissive posture.
The wardens, I would prompt.
Right. Well, something must have probably if you did indeed kill her. Something obviously canceled out or disrupted this spell that was holding me here. And as soon as I had my faculties, with a few wardens that were left, there was seemed they were doing something with the portal downstairs, but there was just one dead man we found down there, and a few more milling about. And
when was this?
This would have been, I don't know, last evening sometime, late afternoon,
so there are
evening.
No wardens left here.
No.
All right, I would just, I guess, gesture to some of the guys to, see if, investigate higher up in the tower.
Okay.
And then thank her for her help, I guess. And I would use, in the most dainty way possible, some way of getting this thing and putting it in my pack, the prison.
Okay. So
Careful not to set it off on my goddamn self. This is the worry here.
Call him Samir Sticky Fingers Freya son.
let's have an Arcana check.
Arcana?
Yeah.
Fuck
This
balls.
is a magical item you're choosing. You don't want to trigger it or activate it.
Oh my god, I really hope it's low.
I committed.
Okay, so you pick it up, and in your mind, very gingerly, but anyone watching you is sort of like, well, he's just kind of holding it. It's not really. He's not being careless, but this isn't really. He's okay. It's fine. It's cool. Nothing seems to happen.
Okay. And at this point, then I'd be like, okay, we're gonna go check out the portal now, and then head downstairs and just say to what's his name, Giles, we're gonna go check out the portal downstairs. If you see any, you just join us whenever you finish.
He sort of directs. He's like, "Girl, Iris, go, and you two go see. Make sure there's nothing in the tower."
You're way better at this than I am.
And you see Giles sort of give you the hand motion of, okay, let's go downstairs. And Atsuko moves to follow you. Seems she's coming with. So, as that conversation is going on, hang on, I just want to check. Yeah.
That would have gone a whole lot different if I rolled lower than an 11 or a 10.
Maybe. Okay, so Dagana, as you carefully
Okay, well, don't. Here, I'll be right back.
As you carefully move down the stairs, you are distracted
I'll be right back.
by a small noise.
Dagana, I have to go pee.
Samir needs to use the restroom, and he just thinks you all should know.
I don't need to use the restroom.
Oh my god, get that die off of there. Thank you.
What the fuck? This thing's fucking crazy. What?
You're not there.
I know.
It looks like some Indiana Jones shit.
Sorry about that.
So as you're carefully making your way down this sort of spiral staircase, which is open, like open air. So as soon as you get like
no
10
handrail.
steps down, you're like, oh, well, okay, that's not safe. You then, as soon as you see it's open, you're able to then see into the main body of the chamber, and there's what seems to be water on the floor, but what your view is sort of dominated by is this massive sort of golden circle in the middle of it that seems to have some sort of blue energy inside this circle. So this must be the portal that kept being talked about. And you can see, let me get on the right tools here. You're then struck by, I've just put it as a blank token here, but there's what looks to be a man's body, a dead man's body, face down in the water, just sort of floating. Looks to have been bloated, sort of a little bit, and then you see whatever this thing is here. There's like what was kind of an ornate piece of glass, or what you assume is glass from the distance that you're at, that seems to be kind of shattered, and the pieces missing of it that you can see are kind of down here on the floor.
All right. I'll just shout up to Vander that it's clear.
Okay. Vander?
Okay. I just say okay.
Okay.
And then I'll go down the rest of the stairs and flip Smelly over. Just
Okay.
take a look.
Smelly.
So as you you sort of turn him over, you see it's the very early stages of sort of decomposition. Maybe started just with like skin color is gone and is all jaundice and whatnot. And though you can see sort of lower, like along from sort of the belly down into the groin, this nasty gash of some sort. It seems to be, if something killed him, it was probably that. Thinking back to what you had been told by Katerina, this sounds to be like the individual that she killed in order to escape.
And then I'm going to walk over here and then just look and listen to see, since there's nobody here, if this is casting off any sound or anything.
You're immediately struck by there is this sort of blue energy that's inside the circle, but it seems to be going like flickering in and out in kind of on-off haphazard ways. It's not solid or anything like that, and it does create this sort of hum noise that comes and goes, and because when it is in sort of full force, there's like blue light that illuminates into the room. That's about all you notice offhand.
Weird. I'll just go back up the stairs and tell Vander there's nothing there, but he might want to check this out.
Okay. So Vander, Dagana comes back up, sort of explains to you what she saw or what she believes she saw.
Well, sounds like the portal they were talking about. I'll go down just out of curiosity to see what she was talking about, and I mean, be pretty amazed by it. But I don't think Vander doesn't really know what to do with it, and he was expecting to meet some warden resistance here, and there's nothing happening. So
No,
he's just
it's
gonna
weird.
head back upstairs and
Okay, about this time is Samir and the rest of the group is coming, or Samir, Atsuko, and Giles are coming back down the stairs. And she sees, Atsuko sees the trapdoor open and just goes and turns her head sharply over to Giles and is just like, do you really think you should be showing everything to these individuals?
Don't worry about it. I found it.
And Giles sort of puts his hands up defensively and is just kind of like, we didn't open anything.
he didn't show us anything. Who are you?
I could ask you the same thing, my lord.
I'm Vander Jack.
Oh, Lord. You have a last name, V?
This is one of the first times Vander said his last name, but yes, he does.
Paladin of Forsetti, I say.
And she sort of puts two and two together that you are also with Samir, and sort of gives you the slightest bit of a head nod, not like a deference, but just a slight inclination.
I'll just be like, what the hell are you guys talking about up there? Check this out.
And she's like, my name is Atsuko Marid, and this is my shrine.
Ah, you're the priestess.
Ah,
So what happened down here? What's going on?
She's been in a bubble for the last week.
A bubble?
Yeah.
Like in the water?
God damn it.
You seen all this water around it? Bubbles have
No,
water.
I
What
know.
else?
It's just funny. It's very
We
Vandery.
go back upstairs.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry, my fault. I wanted this one. There we go.
She's been imprisoned in a magical bubble for the last 6 days that she couldn't break herself out of.
Yes. Quite.
And Eleonora was the one that. How did she capture
So that's
you
how they were
exactly?
getting access to the portal.
And about this time, too.
Is it Charlie? No, it's
No,
not Charlie.
it's not Charlie. Two what seem to be kind of subservient keepers walk in or come in through
Keepers, wardens.
Keepers.
Wardens.
Keepers.
Keepers.
I was about to stab a motherfucker.
Come in through the sort of the main door that would have led out to the portal, and just sort of they look around the room briefly, and all these faces they don't know, but then immediately look up to Atsuko and are just like, okay, we've shown they've been moved out sort of out of the northern district. So we won't have to worry about wardens anymore. Do you want us to get the one in the basement now? And she's like, yes, get.
The wardens have moved out of the northern district. What?
And he sort of turns and sees you, Samir, or well, sort of shifts his gaze from her to you, Samir, as you speak, and then he looks back to the one who was speaking, looks back to Atsuko and sort of and she just kind of just tell them, and sort of a little bit sheepishly, the one keeper who was speaking was just like, well, there weren't very many left, and Marcus can be persuasive when he's angry, and then the speaker looks back at Atsuko and is like, and he seems to be very angry.
Who is Marcus?
And since you're standing right next to her, you see her sort of Atsuko put her hands on her hips and go, Marcus is one of the more capable individuals of the town. I was very happy to see him still alive when I regained my faculties. Smart one, too. He knows when to be quiet, and he knows when to strike.
After hearing all the talking and stuff, I'll walk upstairs and be like, you guys not gonna check this out? Or are we just gonna go? What's going on?
Upstairs. We're in the same room as Vander.
She was downstairs looking at the portal.
So she's come up from the sort of trapdoor, and you see the horns coming up first, and sort of Dagana's sort of shoulders out of the trapdoor, and like.
It is quite a spectacular sight, that portal. I don't know how they've managed to. Well, either way, it seems like all the cleanup work that I was expecting to have to do with the wardens is already taken care of.
And Atsuko sort of steps past Samir and goes down the stairs and is sort of like, yes, everything's fine. We don't have any more. We've gotten rid of the wardens. Yes, go and get whoever that was down there. Fish him out. I don't think we have anything more that needs to be done here. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't know about that.
Is this portal going to be another entrance point for more wardens after they get word that the rest of them are gone? Or the rest of them here are gone?
Well, from my brief look at it yesterday, it did seem they've done something to it. Why they would break their own device, I don't know. The device that they were using, that doesn't make any sense to me, but it'll take a while to fix it, and until we know they're not coming back, I don't see any reason why we need to keep it, or why we need to fix it. I would like to have reinforcements. We're a little... She sort of... You can see her doing some calculations in her head. But if I'd rather cut us off than open the possibility that Sabalino will send us more.
Is he like a keeper, or is he like more of a freelance kind of guy?
No, he's one of my best, one of the most devoted followers we have.
Damn.
And so the two individuals here, they sort of move. The two that had just recently arrived on the scene move past Vander and Dagana. They're coming towards you to go down the stairs. I don't know if you want to stop them or anything, but those two at least are coming your way.
Well, it seems like the warden issue for now is resolved.
I'm gonna say to Atsuko, how can we be sure that this isn't going to be compromised again? How did this even happen in the first place?
How did what happens? What do you mean? What do you mean by this be compromised? Do you mean the city?
The portal. The wardens were using it to get into the city. Obviously.
Well, she just said, Vander, she just said that she wasn't going to repair it until she was certain.
Right, but if the wardens... or the Whitecaps or someone else gets control of the portal again, how can we be sure that this isn't their point of entry?
Okay. This is Atsuko talking. Just here. And she goes down, and so there's this one sort of large chair here, and then there's a few, scattered other things. So she goes and she sits down in this large chair at the table and sort of just, gestures you to the other side, sit down or not. And she goes, I don't really understand who you are, but given what's been said, Giles, it seems you're on the side of the city, if nothing else. The warden showed up here several days ago with apparently coming down from the river docks with this mandate to try and find one of our blessed sultan's weapons, which makes perfect sense. We had heard that they would be coming, and so obviously we showed them every hospitality. It was here in this shrine that my predecessor allowed the weapon to be lost, so it made perfectly sense. But then we didn't really grasp how they were more using this as an excuse to almost occupy the city. It seemed like searching for this weapon was a pretense, and I guess they were doing it, but it seemed more they were trying to develop a base of operations. And that's when they started using our portal downstairs, which is supposed to be for keepers moving around the island where things are needed or going for training, things of that nature. They made it a sort of a one-way connection between here and their headquarters up north. And as soon as I questioned this, that's when I found myself in this prison of sorts. And although Eleonora would come to talk to me and ask my advice, it was more of a taunting than actual counsel. But sorry, I'm doing something on Roll20.
So while these guys are coming to go down the stairs, I'm gonna pull my swords up just because they're getting a little close, and then just sheathe them and then gesture them by.
And
does he shit his pants?
let's have an roll intimidation.
Aw.
He hugs the gun.
He slips and grabs a boob.
Oh god.
Or she slips and falls into the water.
Oh no.
As you sort of
Or she cuts herself, putting them back in.
Bring the two rapiers up, and then as you sort of bring them up and kind of in this show of force, and you see the one in front sort of look over to his friend or to his compatriot, I guess, and just gives a sort of yeah. And they just sort of walk past you, and as you're putting them back, the second one, just with this big grin on his face, as he walks by you, and just sort of goes up to your rapier and goes, ting, looking up at you the whole time with this like shit-eating grin on his face of, this ain't nothing to me.
And then I'll just stick my foot out just to trip him.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Not so that he falls and breaks his neck.
So we're making a show of tripping?
No, just like meh.
Okay. Okay. Hang on. Let me bring his sheet up.
God damn it, Dagana, why are you so petty?
Let's do a...
You don't have to be scary to everyone.
Look at that. So you...
I was just playing, but
you put your foot out to sort of try and trip him, but you do it in kind of a little slow way so that he sees you doing it, and he makes this big exaggerated sort of movement to step over it.
You're not gonna win that one.
As they
I didn't even
continue-
get to roll for that one. That one was bullshit.
Well, you were rolling against dual 19s, so
Oh,
yeah. So they head downwards, and sort of Atsuko continues her sort of almost a dialogue, kind of, or not dialogue, monologue. And so she's explained sort of how this had come about, and I'm just going to summarize instead of do it in her voice. That, in her opinion, this is, though the portal is secured, they're not going to stop. What became abundantly clear from her from these sort of taunting conversations she had with Eleonora is that Eleonora's boss, a woman who you've heard her name once or twice, called Sabelina Mariona, seems to have extreme has designs on the city of Skalanis, that she wants to expand her territory out of the north or out of the Riverlands and include it. And this seemed like she's using this, searching for one of the Sultan's weapons, as the excuse to try and take control of the city of Skalanis as well. And Atsuko gives you the sort of the careful language that we're all servants of the Sultan, of course, but I will not be under the heel of that woman. So you're getting there's a lot of politics.
where did they go?
You're talking.
I'm asking her.
Well, not so much where did they go, but where were they sent? Oh, these two guys are gone.
Either way.
Well,
Also, wherever they were sent, do people need to be sent behind them?
Well, I'll be honest with you, there used to be a lot more. Like when I was finally able to get out of that blasted room and I was expecting there to be at least 24 wardens still here in the temple, and there was 3 or 4 that just seemed to be lackeys and nobodies. All of the impressive individuals who had arrived in those first few days, they were completely gone.
Are those the ones we killed? That's kind of... I'll just ask that to the rest of the group.
Probably.
Ah,
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say probably.
And you see sort of...
And then Samir just starts counting them off in his head because he vividly remembers them all.
and Atsuko says, "Okay, what am I missing?"
I'm just gonna be like, oh, like they found this hideout that we were in, and we killed them all. And then I'll just like pull out, like I'll look in my bag for the chest plate, and then just kind of pull it out and like toss it down.
Dagana, she knows she's dead. I already informed her of that.
No, okay. Well, if you want to wear that later, you can.
And she
I don't
turns,
wanna wear that.
Atsuko turns to Samir and is just like, "I thought you said you killed her, but
I did
she
kill her.
seems to be..."
She's the one that wanted to strip a dead body. I just wanted the things that I wanted off of the body.
Wait. Why would the wardens want anything to do with you? I've never seen any of you around. Who are...
Because what was the guy? Sorry, what was the guy's name from the docks?
Elf guy?
The guy we made swim.
Oh, the not Donovan.
Yeah, the not Donovan.
I don't remember his name because he was.
The not Donovan and the wizard witch lady.
Aileron was his name.
Aileron, and what was the lady's name?
Batilda.
So we needed to go out of town, and Batilda, I don't know if you know that one, though. She's kind of a bitch.
Oh yes.
We killed her.
Sorry.
we were trying to leave, and they didn't want to let us leave, so we killed her. And then we went out of town, and then when we came back, we just went around the other side because we saw some smoke, and then we killed Aileron and his friends, and then after we did that, they kind of put a bounty on our heads of some kind.
I mean, that's after initially just kind of pissing them off because we didn't like them coming in here. And
so that was your thing.
No, this was
was
just
your
them
whole-
being dicks, really, though. I mean, was it Dinklage? Peter Dinklage? What was his name? The guy who runs the inn. Dooley. There we go. He needed help.
What?
Peter Dinklage?
What?
Oh,
I'm just thinking, little person.
Oh boy.
Oh
so
my
many things that could be
God.
said that we're not gonna say.
I'm gonna skip over that one entirely.
Yeah, just not touching it. But so as Dagana is sort of saying and retelling this, Atsuko at some point is just like, "Wait, you're the loudmouth tiefling, right?" That
I
she
mean,
was
I'm more
talking
with
about.
the loudmouth whore of Freya over here. But yes.
No. Eleonora was talking. She kept talking about this tiefling who was posturing at her or something in one of the bars or something like that.
Indeed. And now her and all her followers are dead. Anyway, should we go and kill them?
Marcus seems to be handling it.
Oh no!
By the way, if
Make
Marcus
no-
is ever looking to moonlight, just let me know. I got a place that needs a little bit of protecting here and there. So if he's ever,
no.
looking to make some extra money.
Make no mistake. Like, I had Marcus supervising getting the rest of these half a dozen or 4 or 5, whatever they were, individuals out of the city. I just wanted them expelled in a manner that they knew it was not wise to come back, and he's very good at that. But that is where his sort of, I will need him here. I have no doubt that Sabelina will not stop.
Wait, who's Sabelina?
Sabelina is the leader of the wardens up north in the Riverlands. It was made abundantly clear to me that her agenda is to annex all of Skolanus into her domain. You know,
Bender's sort of off in the corner, scowling a little bit at the light that our actions have been put in. It seems a little bit
skewed.
to him. He feels like he was more noble in his processions through things.
Well, out of character, I wanted to present it in a way that didn't
No, it's totally fine.
Well,
did not at all
What was
associate
said was
us with
said.
anybody in. No, I know. I'm just saying. I'm saying, from my perspective, that I was saying it in such a way that it wouldn't connect us to the Valhalla Dean.
Right, and which no mention has been made of.
Yes.
Just a hideout, which could mean many things.
Okay, but then having processed what, well, I'll wait since Dagon is the primary converser here. So in sort of listening to this back and forth and how Dagon has explained things, you see her take a moment. She goes, "So it's fair to say the three of you are foreigners, yes? Recently come with all the rest in search of treasure or adventure or whatever the rest of them say. Yes? Something?"
Yeah,
Wouldn't put it quite like that, but sure.
Vander doesn't say anything.
Okay. So, since the most positive, she sort of seems to be directing her conversation to Dagana. And it's just like, if someone were to remove Sabelina, there could be lots of incentives of various types. I'm sure they've told you about the staff she carries and all of its power. Not sure if that would be of interest.
I mean, I don't do magic.
Yes, but
Oh, boy.
But some of us do and would pay handsomely for such an item. And as you sort of
Do we have a
pause,
sense
she,
of... Go ahead.
as you sort of hesitate and sort of what you say or what to say next, she then, after a few seconds, says, "And by handsomely, I mean whatever you want."
Well, I'll look to the other two and just kind of. I mean, I'm for it.
So do we have a sense of how long it would take for her to muster, Sabelina to muster more people to send this away?
The three of you? No. Are you asking that question? Or
Yes, I'm asking.
Oh, to Atsuko.
No, I was asking out of character.
Okay, out of character, the three of you would have no idea.
Okay. So then I was just making sure. And when you say that Sabelina isn't going to stop, how soon do you think she'd have more wardens here?
Well, as long as we keep our portal closed, which it seems we must do, they have to come by river barge, and that takes at least a week from if they're coming all the way from Gendros, or even if it's from the Sanctum. Yes, that would take at least a week.
So it would take her... Okay. So I can't leave yet.
Now she's now speaking to Samir. You are a very handsome man.
I am.
God damn
And
it.
he preens just a little bit. Make sure,
We could... And you see her sort of thinking to herself. Yes, that might... We could enter you in the Crucible.
So what?
Oh, right. I'm sorry. And so she goes into this explanation about something called the Consort's Crucible. And she sort of explains to you it's this kind of tournament that's held on a very kind of haphazard... Sometimes it can be years, like a decade can go by before it's between times it's being held, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. The principle of it is that human men compete in this sort of arena, brawling arena, in order to try and become the consort of the Sultan. And as the stories go, whoever wins is invited to the mountain of Shahrivar, where they become the consort of the Sultan, and they live out their days in blissful paradise. Which she says, all of that is fine and the stories are what the stories are. What I mean is, or for our purposes, Sabelina will be the one officiating over the Crucible in, I think they still have 2 or 3 towns that still need to hold it. If you were to enter it in one of those towns, you would be able to get extremely close to her without arousing any suspicions. If you're able to, if you are as competent as you say with a blade, you might be able to end this very easily.
So it's not a beauty pageant.
No.
Oh. Well, then you might not
but
win.
But beauty has something to do with it. She said I'm a very handsome man, Dagana.
And she clarifies, beauty helps you to get into the contest.
See, there we go. What about Vander over here? Would he be able to enter?
And you see her sort of look Vander up and down and be like, a different type of man. But yes, it's sort of fortitude and constitution. I suspect he would be allowed to compete as well. Yes, either one of you, really.
When you say brawl, is that like fisticuffs?
Typically, yes. I mean, each town can do it differently depending on how they want to arrange it. Let's see. And she sort of pulls out some drawers in the paperwork and seems to be going through papers or whatnot. She's like, oh, okay. All right. There are 2 towns that still haven't held it. It seems. So there's Windermere, which is just to the north of at the edge of the river to the north of us, the lake town. And then there's Gendros, which is sort of, that's kind of the warden's seat of power. And so those 2 still haven't held it. It'd be easier to get in Gendros because she would feel secure and safe because that's almost her kind of hometown. But getting out, that could be difficult. Windermere, the island town, might be more difficult to sort of, like she'd probably have some guards with her. It might be a little more difficult there, but escaping would be almost nothing.
I'd ask her what would be more viable at this point. Basically, better for the city as it is to get the Whitecaps out, or to go after the wardens.
You see her sort of consider that for a moment, and like, well, I only know I'm a little behind, and I assume the Whitecaps' interests are the same as...
The Whitecaps aren't going to be leaving anytime soon. And
No.
now that the Wardens aren't in the city, Octavia seems to think that they're going to try their hand at taking over.
And you see her turn to Giles, and he sort of shrugs, and in a non-committal, but kind of, yeah, well, maybe.
I mean, surely as a port city, you guys rely on the ocean trade, and they're not allowing any of that, so I don't know how long the city can survive on its own like this.
Well, the city does rely on it. I'll be honest, we keepers, we well, without the portal, then yes, that does make sense. See her sort of thinking to herself, if you want to keep asking things.
Well, I want to know when this consorts tournament is supposed to be. And if it's fisticuffs or blades or weapons of some sort.
Okay, so she sort of is looking at timings and whatnot, and she's like, well, it seems like it's going to be held in Gendros first, so that's the furthest, that's farther away. So you'd have to leave soon if you were going to make it there in time. It's going to be held there in about a week and a half. The other one, so then they're going to come south to, south to Windermere, south to the lake town. But so that wouldn't be for about another 5 or 6 days, so probably 2 weeks from now would be when that one would occur. So you would have more time to sort of prepare if you went to that one.
Well, if we could take 2 weeks to handle
It'll take
the
you at
Whitecaps-
least 4 or 5 days to get. Well, no, it would take you probably 3 days to get up to Windermere.
Okay.
If you
well,
take
if
a
we can
boat.
take the next week and a half to try and deal with the Whitecap situation,
Yeah, I say we go talk to Brownie if we can find her.
and then we can enter Vander into this.
I've not agreed to enter anything.
Because as much as I would love to do it, I'm not so good with the punching people thing. And V seems to be fantastic at it. Do you remember that time when he punched the weird rust monster thing to death?
It shined the gold flames bright like the sun of justice.
You do not need to patronize me to get me to enter this tournament.
Patronizing you?
And Atsuko turns to Vander and just says, "Be aware, big man. You would not be able to take your metal armor with you."
It's a shirtless contest?
Some choose to. Armor is not allowed. Also, weapons are not allowed.
I mean, out of character, Shiver, your AC is decent without armor, isn't it?
No.
No.
That armor's doing a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
The armor and the shield.
Armor shield is sort of my thing. I have no dexterity. Basically, I'm not. And that's sort of Vander. I mean, I guess. He wouldn't agree to being in this, I don't think.
It doesn't seem like we're going to be able to enter it and win it.
I mean,
About
do you
this
really have
time,
to win it? You just
The
have to
two
be close.
individuals are sort of, wheelbarrow carrying the bloated corpse of the dead guy up out of the spiral staircase, and it's like really hard to get him out from the top of it. But they kind of manage it, knock over a few bottles or something. Sorry.
I'll just, I'll step aside and just leave.
I do one of these.
It smells bad.
It does smell bad.
It's, yeah.
Okay. Well, so, and Asuko starts sort of talking. I think that's our business for now. If you choose to take a course,
You need to go.
maybe you choose to take a course. And then as sort of to Dagana and in kind of a lower tone, it's just, and my offer stands.
And I'll just nod.
Nod and suggestively raise your eyebrows at her? God damn.
And then I'll see you turn to me and I'll wink.
Okay.
And then just I say let's go find Brownie.
Oh, shit.
What happens to Samir?
Awkward boner.
No, he's just kind of sitting there thinking.
Okay. So anything else we want to do? Vander, you've been very quiet.
Yep. No,
That's the sound of me trudging through water.
makes farty noises. Yeah. No, I'm just gonna follow Dagon out.
Okay.
So you agree with the whole brownie thing.
Okay.
Just Vander doesn't really know what to do at this point. Feels like we've got a lot of things to juggle.
Feels like his justice compass is askew.
It is. It is askew.
Okay, so you sort of you leave the water temple, the water shrine, the city watch that came with you don't come with you. They are staying. Giles seems to be continuing to converse with Atsuko.
I would just say to Giles, thank Octavia for us.
And he sort of says, and from what I've overheard here, I think, while not official, of course, we may thank you.
And then I'd follow after adjusting.
God damn it.
Dress to the left.
God.
Okay.
Then he just adjusts and tucks it into the waistband.
Into the waistband.
I hope we never get to the point where we have artists who want to do fan art, because I worry that it'll be things like that will be depicted.
Of course it would. Who would expect anything else?
Instead of a majestic portal of magic and whatnot. No, it'll be...
Dude, that portal looked fucking badass, to be honest.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It looked like
Yeah.
fucking rad Stargate.
I was expecting, like, I don't know.
Another
Not actually
mirror.
like a... Yeah, like sort of mirror-esque. Not like gigantic, okay, I can put a fucking elephant through it.
Same here. I was expecting it to look kind of like the portal that shattered.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't put an elephant through it, because then you'd have an elephant in your basement.
Well, but maybe... Yeah, okay.
But they love water.
Magic. Magic. Shrink the elephant afterwards.
Now you're
And
thinking.
you can move it out, and then you can grow it again.
Now you're thinking. Okay, and so as we're at 12:30, I think that's where we're going to call it tonight, because you're kind of moving back to a position where hopefully next week Chaotica can be a part of
Rejoin.
everything
Present.
and contribute. So that's where we'll call our first stream. We only dropped 600 frames, which thankfully I only noticed now, so I can only obsess about it afterwards. And try and-
600 isn't so bad.
It's nothing, right? Nothing.
Not for
So
a few hours, no, not bad.
No, it's not bad.
so we're gonna try and figure out music stuff so that you can hear the music as well as the chat. I'm gonna get a lot more of the assets loaded in so I can easily show it to the chat. For the people who stuck with us, the dozen or so, thank you very much. I would say for our first stream, that went a lot smoother than as well
Then
as
the practice one, that's for sure.
yeah, much better than last week.
Sorry for Vander getting all broody at the end.
Well,
He's sensitive. It's okay.
he's a sensitive boy.
Sensitive about these things.
His justice boner is a little deflated.
Okay, so before I forget, and I didn't actually, because I was too busy, I didn't write down the justifications. But so Dagana add 75 role-playing experience, Samir at 50, and Vander at 50.
Cool.
And here we'll do it this way. If anyone in the chat who's been watching, if there's any parts that you thought the characters were really interesting, if you say it in the chat, maybe we'll give them more.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Because I may have
Maybe.
not, wrote it down or made a note or whatnot. See, this is where we see if anyone actually
Anybody's
made it
awake.
to the
And
end.
you actually paid attention, yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably all asleep, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on the delay. We'll give them 10 seconds. Our delay actually is pretty good, which was nice.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty short especially for who knows what the metrics are, the difference between an actual partnered stream and just a nobody. if there's an actual difference in the amount of bandwidth they give you. But all right, chat's giving you nothing.
Nothing.
Latency's
So-
9 seconds.
Yeah, that's
It's not bad.
it's better than Dan. His is like 15. Okay, Punks is giving you nothing. He just thinks you did
Yeah,
equally
it's
well. That's
Being
nothing.
very, very diplomatic.
Nothing. So, okay, if anyone is watching the VOD, time afterwards, and you think, oh, that was great. I mean,
It's always Discord.
I think Buddy knows how to push Vander's buttons.
Nice.
He really shined with justice.
So much justice.
The
Dude, I polished so good.
Polished.
The chat has no idea what you mean by all this justice stuff.
Just
Forseti is the god of justice. So Vander has lots of cheesy justice lines.
and they're great. That's
And
He doesn't think they're cheesy. He believes he's a hero and is doing noble things and wonderful stuff and bringing justice.
and then he hears after all.
And then
of
he
this.
hears,
Samir
oh, we
Snicker.
killed a bunch of people and murdered people because we wanted to get out of the city. And it's just like, oh,
Now
man.
he has to sort of think about things.
He's thinking about, like, okay, if someone saw this from the outside, we're just kind of like mercenaries, like killing a bunch of people.
But you totally killed that rock that one time.
Yeah. Actually, the whole smashing thing didn't go over very well.
No.
Like, what the fuck are you doing out here, man? Practicing.
practicing.
If anybody in this party is gonna be I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It was a old D&D gag. I first saw it in the game Summoner, I think for PS1, where there was sort of like if you walked off a part of the map or whatnot, it triggered this cutscene that had nothing to do with the game. That was a group of characters sitting around a table playing D&D, and the punchline of it is one guy is just like, well, so what do I see? And the DM's like, well, you see it's a dark corridor, and the character goes, I attack the darkness. And if there's anyone in this campaign who's going to be like, I attack the darkness for justice, it's going to be Vander.
Oh, man.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, buddy, I know there's a lot of references that just don't make any sense, so I'm going to do my best to have the sort of complete story of the party up on the website so people can at least, get the backstory whenever they want.
You did your best to explain during the stream. I think it was pretty good.
And we're only going to do that. I mean, we'll do a recap of this stream for the next one. It's sort of, so there's at least a little continuity, but I'm not going to do the whole kit and caboodle
Bang.
every time. That'll just be do your homework and read it if you really care. And thank you very much if you do care.
If you didn't want the condensed version,
It was fun for the first one.
Yeah, not
Glad we
bad.
did it.
Not bad. So here we are. This is our little show. We're going to be here 9 o'clock on Fridays. Normally going till about 1 a.m. is kind of our hard stopping point unless it's something really amazing that's going on. So that's kind of... We're sorry for the Europeans. It's just this is when, people have families and responsibilities. So this is the time the players can make it. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed it or something.
Or something.
And that's what we're going out on.